In the hush of ancient forests, beneath the sparkling streams and among the quiet mountains, lived mysterious beings known as nymphs. They were more than spirits of nature, they were the heartbeat of the natural world. To people in ancient times, nymphs were glimpses of something profound, an ethereal connection between the human and the natural, where each tree, river, or mountain held its own soul and story. The world felt alive with these beings, and each landscape, from lush meadows to rushing waters, seemed inhabited by unseen, benevolent forces that added mystery to the world around them. The role of nymphs was not just to exist within nature, but to live in harmony with it, protecting and preserving its beauty. Ancient cultures believed that rivers, hills, and groves did not simply exist as lifeless land, they were the living, breathing manifestations of nymphs, who watched over their domains with care. If you walked by a riverbank, you might feel that someone, something, was there with you, a soft whisper, a chill breeze, an unseen gaze that seemed to understand your soul. Nymphs were not worshipped like the great gods or goddesses. They didn't wield thunder like Zeus or control the ocean like Poseidon. Instead, they existed humbly, quietly, as subtle guardians of places beloved by their people. Nymphs were like hidden friends who didn't demand offerings or grand rituals. They were kindred spirits, guides in nature, who gently taught humans respect for the earth. People would leave offerings of flowers, honey, or milk by sacred springs or ancient oaks, hoping to earn their favor or blessings. These were the modest gifts of admiration from humans who felt the nymph's presence as a gift in return. Greek and Roman cultures shared an enduring love and reverence for nymphs, yet each saw them through their own unique lenses. In Greek mythology, nymphs held a distinct beauty that reflected the landscapes they embodied. There were the Naiads, gentle water nymphs who brought life to rivers and springs, the dryads, soulfully bound to each tree, feeling the slow pulse of the forests, and the Oreads, fierce and bold, like the mountains they called home. Each type of Greek nymph was woven into the world around them, becoming one with their landscape and keeping its secrets safe. When Greeks imagined their nymphs, they saw young, graceful maidens, full of laughter and life, yet with an untamed spirit that made them unpredictable and elusive. They represented an ideal, a vision of nature untouched and unbound, beautiful yet fragile. The Romans, however, had their own way of seeing nymphs. To them, nymphs were still bound to the earth and its beauty, but they also carried a sense of wisdom and mystique that felt both intimate and timeless. Roman nymphs were guardians of springs, caves, and woods, and they were respected deeply by the people, who believed they could heal the sick or bring good fortune to those who honored them. They were more than symbols of beauty. They were beings of wisdom who held secrets that could only be revealed in the quiet of the forest or the solitude of a spring. Roman nymphs were respected not only for their beauty but also for their age-old knowledge of the earth, secrets whispered through roots, rivers, and stones. In ancient stories, there are countless tales of nymphs who changed lives, often silently and unnoticed. A weary traveler lost in a dark forest might hear a faint melody that leads him back to safety, or a young woman praying by a stream for love might feel a gentle breeze and see her wishes come true in unexpected ways. These were the works of nymphs, kind and quiet presences who helped those who respected the land. The nymphs did not demand obedience or impose rules, they gave freely, asking only that their homes, the rivers, the trees, the hills, be honored and protected in return. But not all encounters with nymphs were joyous. Some were tragic, filled with sorrow and longing. Nymphs were often immortal, ageless, while humans aged and faded like autumn leaves. A shepherd might fall in love with a nymph only to watch her slip away, unable to share his mortal fate. Their love stories were both beautiful and heartbreaking, moments of perfect joy and painful partings. When a nymph loved, she loved with all her spirit, but she was bound to her nature, unable to change for the sake of fleeting human emotions. These tales, passed down over centuries, left a haunting reminder of love's fleeting nature, a love that was as boundless as it was untouchable. Nymphs also had a playful, sometimes mischievous side, reflecting nature's unpredictable nature. There are tales of travelers losing their way as nymphs cast playful illusions, leading them in circles until they finally collapsed with laughter or frustration. They were not malicious but mirrored the unpredictable beauty and whimsy of the natural world they embodied. Just as rivers can shift and forests can close in, nymphs could play tricks on those who were careless or disrespectful of their homes. Yet for those who treated the land kindly, who walked quietly and listened, the nymphs would offer a silent, mysterious friendship, a hidden kindness in an often uncertain world. Though many stories and descriptions of nymphs might differ, they all share a sense of wonder and reverence. Across Greek and Roman cultures, nymphs held the delicate thread that connected humans to nature, embodying the beauty, mystery, and wisdom of the earth itself. The belief in these spirits added an enchantment to the world, making every forest glade and bubbling spring a place of quiet reverence. The nymphs may have been invisible, but their presence was felt by those who were willing to listen, to hear the soft murmur of a stream, the rustle of leaves, or the call of a distant mountain. The ancient peoples may have vanished, but their stories linger, as if the nymphs still live on, hidden among the forests, rivers, and hills, waiting to be remembered in whispers and stories. In the soft, shaded depths of Roman myth, where ancient whispers lingered in groves and rivers, there lived the nymphs, each one bound to the heartbeat of the earth. They weren't just spirits or figments, they were the land's guardians, the protectors of its waters, forests, and mountains. To the Romans, these beings weren't mere fantasies, but echoes of something more, each carrying the quiet pulse of nature. Every type of nymph held a unique spirit, a presence that felt as old as the earth itself, and each type watched over a part of the world with a love and loyalty that defied time. Among the most cherished of the nymphs were the Naiads, who guarded the rivers, springs, and wells. These water nymphs were said to be born from the tears of the earth, and their lives ebbed and flowed with the currents they inhabited. To see a Naiad was to glimpse the soft shimmer of a stream in sunlight or to hear the gentle babble of a brook. They brought life to the land, feeding the crops, quenching thirst, and filling the world with freshness and vitality. People believed that Naiads could heal the sick, cleanse the weary, and bring blessings to those who respected their waters. There were legends of travelers, tired and lost, who drank from a sacred stream and found themselves restored. Yet the Naiads, though kind and giving, were also fierce protectors. They could be like rivers themselves, gentle one moment, fierce and unforgiving the next. Those who dared to taint or harm their waters often felt the wrath of the Naiads, as unpredictable and mighty as a river flood. Moving from the water to the forest, the dryads lived in the quiet shadows of trees, their lives intertwined with the woodlands they loved. To the Romans, dryads weren't just protectors of the trees, they were the very soul of the forest. Each dryad had her tree, a great oak or a slender birch, with which she shared her life. If the tree flourished, so did the dryad. But if it was harmed or cut down, she would wither and fade like autumn leaves caught in a storm. Dryads were silent guardians, watching over the animals, the rustling leaves, the creeping moss, and every beam of light that filtered through the canopy. People would whisper that if you stepped too heavily on forest ground, a dryad might feel it, her heart aching with the weight. For those who treated the trees with care and respect, the dryads were gentle spirits, known to guide wanderers to safety or show them hidden groves of beauty. But to those who came with axes and disregard, the dryads were unforgiving. Tales warned that such intruders might find themselves lost, surrounded by trees that seemed to close in, each branch and shadow whispering of their trespass. High above in the craggy mountain peaks lived the Oreads, the nymphs of the mountains. Their spirits were as wild and untamable as the heights they called home. Unlike the gentle Naiads or the nurturing dryads, the Oreads had a fierceness, a rugged resilience that matched the rocks and cliffs. To see an Oread was like catching sight of a hawk soaring across the sky or feeling the icy chill of mountain air. These nymphs watched over mountain paths, caves, and cliffs, guarding the secrets hidden in their heights. Hunters and travelers who braved the mountains felt the presence of the Oreads, who could help or hinder as they pleased. The mountains were unforgiving, and so were the Oreads. They were the ones who brought sudden storms, who howled in the winds and drove the snow. Yet they also protected those who honored the mountains, who climbed with respect and caution. The Oreads would sometimes guide them to safe paths, or shelter them in caves from the storm. But to those who came with arrogance, seeking to conquer the mountains, the Oreads would show no mercy. Then there were the Nereids, ocean nymphs whose home was the vast, endless sea. To the Romans, the Nereids were mysterious and alluring, beautiful and dangerous. They were the daughters of the sea god Nereus, and each one was as wild and changeable as the ocean itself. Some said they danced on the waves, their laughter echoing across the open waters. Sailors feared and respected them, for the Nereids could be as kind as a gentle breeze or as ruthless as a tempest. They were the ones who watched over sailors, guiding them to safety when the seas were calm, and dragging them to the depths when they angered the ocean. Tales spoke of shipwrecked sailors who, just as they had given up hope, felt themselves lifted by soft, unseen hands and carried to shore. But there were also stories of ships swallowed whole, of men pulled under by cold, merciless waves. The Nereids were both the beauty and the terror of the sea, as endless and unpredictable as the waters they loved. There were other, lesser-known nymphs as well, each tied to a specific part of nature. The Naiads, for example, guarded the meadows, filling the fields with flowers and soft grass. They were gentle and bright, often seen as the most tender-hearted of the nymphs, bringing joy to those who wandered their lands. People said that Naiads could bring good fortune to those who treated their meadows with care, ensuring bountiful harvests and rich pastures. Then there were the Nymphae, nymphs of the valleys, quiet and unassuming but with a strength that came from the earth itself. They watched over the villages and farmlands nestled between mountains, protecting the crops and animals from harm. The Romans believed that as long as the Nymphae were pleased, the valleys would stay lush and green, a safe haven surrounded by towering peaks. Each of these nymphs, Naiads, dryads, oreads, nereids, Naiads, and Nymphae, had their own personalities, their own strengths and weaknesses. Yet they were all bound by a single purpose, to guard the earth and all its beauty. They weren't just passive spirits, they were fierce in their devotion, powerful in their presence. The Romans knew this and treated their lands with reverence, leaving offerings, saying prayers, and walking carefully through the places the nymphs called home. To harm the land was to harm the nymphs, and to harm the nymphs was to risk nature's fury. The nymphs lived on, year after year, century after century, watching over their beloved lands as humans came and went. They were there in every spring that bubbled up from the earth, and every tree that stretched its branches toward the sun, and every mountain peak that stood strong against the sky. The Romans believed that as long as the nymphs remained, the land would be alive, forever breathing, forever beautiful. In the soft light of dawn, where the first rays touched the earth and painted the world in hues of gold, the nymphs came alive. They were more than mythical beings, they were the spirit, the breath, the soul of nature itself. To those who believed, each river, each tree, each mountain held within it the presence of these mysterious, eternal guardians. The Romans didn't just see nature as a backdrop for life, they felt it as something sacred, almost holy. Every tree had a story, every stream a voice, and every mountain a soul. And all of this was woven together by the nymphs, whose very essence was bound to the natural world. The Naiads were as timeless as water itself, gliding through rivers and resting in still ponds, merging their very being with the flow and ebb of every stream and wellspring. They were life-givers, protectors of water's purity. People would sometimes whisper about a Naiad glimpsed in the gentle curve of a river, her presence felt in the coolness that lingered on a hot summer's day, a reminder of the quiet, ceaseless watch these nymphs held over their waters. The Romans knew that rivers and springs brought life. Without them, crops wouldn't grow, cities wouldn't flourish, and people couldn't survive. To the Romans, these nymphs were seen as divine custodians, guardians who ensured that water continued to bless the land. If someone polluted the waters, it wasn't just an offense against the earth, it was a slight against the Naiads themselves. The Romans knew they could face droughts or illness if they failed to respect these watery spirits, and so they honored the Naiads, believing the streams and rivers were sacred veins that kept the earth alive. In the shadows of ancient groves, where the trees stood tall and silent, the dryads watched over the forests. Their presence was a quiet power, a connection that pulsed in every leaf, branch, and root. Romans held a deep reverence for the trees, believing them to be as close to immortal as anything in nature could be, and with them lived the dryads, bound to their trees as surely as life is bound to breath. To harm a tree was to harm a dryad, and it was said that those who hurt these sacred trees would feel the sorrow of the forest itself. The people believed that to enter a forest was to step into a living, breathing world where every tree could hear and every shadow might hide a guardian spirit. The dryads were the silent protectors, knowing the secrets of the woods, holding the stories of the earth's oldest places. Each breeze that rustled the leaves, each shaft of light that filtered down, was seen as a gentle reminder of the nymphs who held the forests with love and strength. And there, rising above the plains and forests, were the mountains, ancient, unyielding, their peaks reaching toward the heavens. It was here that the Oreads, the mountain nymphs, made their home. Fierce as the cliffs they guarded, these nymphs were wild and untamable, just like the mountains themselves. People rarely saw the Oreads, but they felt their presence in the whistle of the wind, the sharp chill of high-altitude air, and the untamed beauty of the rugged peaks. The Romans looked at the mountains not just as great masses of rock, but as places touched by the divine, where gods and spirits alike roamed free. The Oreads were protectors of these towering landscapes, ensuring that the mountains remained strong and untouched by human hands. The Romans knew better than to defy the mountains, for to do so was to risk the wrath of the Oreads, who could unleash avalanches, send blizzards, or guide travelers to safety only if they deemed them worthy. For the Romans, mountains were symbols of power, mystery, and isolation, a fitting home for the fierce, loyal Oreads. To the Romans, nymphs weren't simply spirits. They were nature itself, a living presence that went beyond what the eyes could see. The forests, rivers, and mountains were symbols of resilience, beauty, and the fragile balance of life. Nymphs brought these elements alive, reminding the people that nature wasn't just land or water, but a force to be respected and revered. When Romans gathered around fires to tell stories of the Naiads, the dryads, or the Oreads, they weren't just spinning tales of fantasy, they were honoring the elements that sustained them. Nature, to them, was a sacred trust, and in each nymph, they saw a reflection of nature's gifts and its power. These myths held the people close to the earth, whispering to them of rivers, trees, and mountains that watched, listened, and loved. In the heartbeat of a flowing stream, the towering strength of a tree, and the silent endurance of a mountain, the nymphs lived on. The people felt them there, silent and unseen, but alive in every part of the natural world that surrounded them. When the world was still young, and the colors of the earth were yet to bloom, there was Flora, the gentle goddess of flowers, carrying a beauty as soft as the morning dew and as radiant as the sunlit petals of spring. She wasn't just a deity to the Romans. Flora was the very essence of life's quiet splendor, the source of every blossom and bloom that filled the land with fragrance and color. Her presence was in every petal, every leaf, and every scent that danced on the breeze. Flora was a guardian of beauty itself, her spirit a reminder of life's fragile wonders, treasured for the joy and colors she brought into an otherwise simple world. Her origin, like the gentle unfolding of a flower, was woven into the heart of Roman myth, a tale that whispered of life springing forth from the barren earth. Flora was said to have been born from the breath of the earth's first spring, when the sun's warmth touched the land, coaxing buds to bloom and colors to paint the world. With her touch, every barren hill and plain transformed, breaking forth in a riot of flowers that spread across the fields, meadows, and valleys. She brought forth the colors, the fragrances, the softness of petals that lifted people's spirits and reminded them of life's simple joys. To the Romans, Flora was an eternal springtime, the promise that life would always return after the cold of winter, that beauty would endure even in the darkest times. Flora wasn't alone in a realm of creation and rebirth. Her life intertwined with other gods and goddesses, each relationship adding layers to her story and the world she loved. Her closest connection was with Zephyrus, the gentle god of the west wind. Their bond was a story of warmth and life, where his breezes stirred her flowers to life, carrying their fragrance across the land. When Zephyrus swept across the fields, Flora's blossoms would dance, lifting their petals to his gentle touch, and in their love, spring was born. It was said that wherever Zephyrus went, Flora followed, creating an endless cycle of warmth, new life, and beauty. Their relationship was more than affection, it was a harmony between wind and bloom, a timeless dance that brought life to the earth and joy to the hearts of those who looked upon the fields. Yet, Flora's influence extended beyond her union with Zephyrus. She shared a bond with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. Venus, whose allure could sway the hearts of gods and mortals alike, found in Flora a kindred spirit. For Venus, love was beauty, and for Flora, beauty was love. Together, they crafted a world where flowers became symbols of affection and desire. The rose, for example, was a gift from Flora to Venus, a flower that carried the essence of love itself. Each petal, soft and fragrant, held a piece of Flora's own heart, a reminder of the tenderness that blooms in the presence of love. Roses became offerings to Venus, tokens of admiration and passion, blessed by Flora herself. People believed that in every bouquet and every garden, a part of Flora and Venus's friendship lived on, a testament to the beauty they created together. Her connection to Bacchus, the god of wine, was another cherished relationship. Bacchus, with his wild festivals and endless celebration, saw in Flora a spirit of joy and abundance. Flowers adorned his festivals, filling them with a beauty and fragrance that brought life to the revelry. Flora's blooms crowned his followers, garlands woven in their hair, symbolizing the natural beauty that accompanied the thrill of life. Her presence in Bacchus's world turned simple gatherings into celebrations of life's vibrancy, her flowers serving as reminders of beauty's fleeting, precious nature. In the laughter and joy of Bacchus's revels, Flora's blossoms stood as symbols of love and joy, reminders that even in the wildest moments, beauty remains. But Flora's kindness was not without wisdom. She understood the passing of seasons, the fragile nature of life's blooms. Just as spring would inevitably turn to summer, Flora knew that every petal would one day fall, every bloom would wither. This acceptance of beauty's transience gave her a quiet strength. She reminded people not only to cherish the beauty around them, but also to see its delicate nature, to understand that what is here today may not be here tomorrow. Her flowers weren't just symbols of joy, but also gentle reminders to love, to feel, to live fully while beauty lasts. When Romans walked through gardens and fields, they felt Flora's presence in every bloom, every touch of color. In her temples, people would leave flowers as offerings, a gesture of gratitude for the beauty she brought into their lives. During the festival of Floralia, the people would gather in her honor, celebrating with dances and garlands, throwing petals into the air, covering the streets in color. The festival wasn't just a celebration, it was a thank you to Flora, an acknowledgement of the beauty and life she gifted to the world. In those moments of celebration, as flowers rained down and laughter filled the air, it was as if Flora herself had touched each heart, reminding them of the beauty that lives in every simple, fleeting moment. Flora's influence went beyond the fields and gardens, she touched the very heart of Roman culture. Flowers became symbols of love, peace, and life's gentle joys. They adorned the homes, temples, and festivals, each bloom a testament to Flora's spirit. People believed that every time they saw a blossom, they were seeing a piece of the goddess herself, a gift from her to them, a reminder that even in a world filled with hardship, beauty still thrived. In a time when voices danced like leaves in the wind and the forest was alive with whispers, there was Echo, the nymph with a voice so enchanting that it seemed to hold the very essence of music. Her voice was her soul, light and lilting, yet strong enough to carry across mountains and valleys, mingling with the songs of rivers and the rustling of trees. For those who heard her, Echo's voice was unforgettable, a melody as natural and pure as rain. She was the voice of all nymphs, a spirit born to speak not only for herself, but for the beauty of the entire world around her. Yet her gift was also her burden, for Echo's voice would ultimately become her prison. She had been cursed by the goddess Hera, silenced in the most painful way. It wasn't her song that was taken from her, nor her will to speak, but her ability to say anything new. She could only repeat the words of others, forever a reflection of voices that were not her own. Gone was her freedom, her own thoughts, her own heart. She was left with an echo of herself, a shadow of the voice she once loved and cherished. The world that once felt vibrant now seemed distant to her, each word she repeated a reminder of her captivity, a life bound in fragments of other people's words. Then there was Narcissus, a youth whose beauty was so striking it caught even the gods' attention. Echo saw him and was captivated. She watched him from afar, longing to speak to him, to share her heart with him. But every time she tried, she could only repeat his own words, empty reflections of what he gave her. Narcissus, lost in his own beauty, thought nothing of her, looking upon her only as he would a shadow. He had no need for her words, her gaze, or her longing. She could only watch him from a distance, bound by a love she could neither express nor contain. Every attempt to reach him became another wound, until her heart was a patchwork of sorrow and silence. In her sorrow, Echo faded. Her body withered as her longing grew, and eventually, all that remained of her was her voice, drifting through the mountains and valleys, a sound caught forever in the wind. The trees carried her, the hills whispered her, and the rocks echoed her song, as if the earth itself mourned her loss. She was everywhere and nowhere, forever bound to the spaces she had once filled with life. Her voice, once full of music and joy, was now a sound of endless yearning, a reminder to those who heard her that love, unreturned, could be as eternal as it was heartbreaking. Echo's story was one of love and loss, a tale that touched the hearts of Romans for generations. In her, they saw the tragic beauty of love's devotion and the pain of its silence. She became a symbol of longing, a reminder of all the voices that would never be heard. Roman poets found in her story a mirror for their own loves, their own losses, their own desires left unfulfilled. They painted her sorrow in verses, capturing the haunting beauty of a love that could never be, a heart that could never find peace. Her name became a whisper on the lips of lovers, a reflection of all that was bittersweet and true in the human heart. Artists, too, felt her story deeply, capturing her sorrow in stone and paint. Sculptors carved her form, delicate and fading, as if she were vanishing into the air itself. Her eyes, filled with longing, seemed to follow viewers, inviting them to feel her sadness, to understand her silence. Paintings of Echo showed her in quiet moments, her face turned toward the mountains or the sky, as if waiting for a voice she could call her own. Through art, Echo's story became immortal, a voice that would never truly fade, held forever in the world's memory. And so Echo lived on, her voice a symbol of beauty and sorrow, of love that could never be spoken but would always be heard. Her tale reminded those who heard it that some loves were eternal, that some voices, though lost, would always find a way to remain. Long ago, there was a young nymph named Lotus, known for her delicate beauty, a beauty so gentle it felt like sunlight breaking through morning mist. Her charm was soft and quiet, like the petals of a flower yet to fully open. But her life was shadowed by fear, and her heart was troubled. Her beauty had drawn the attention of Priapus, a god whose desire for her was neither gentle nor kind. Lotus was haunted by his relentless pursuit, and no matter where she went, she felt his gaze upon her, a dark cloud over her life's peaceful skies. One night, during a celebration, Lotus felt the weight of that fear more than ever. Priapus, seeking to catch her alone, tried to seize her when the night was deep and quiet, when everyone else had fallen into sleep. She woke suddenly, sensing his presence close by, and in that instant, terror took hold of her. She ran, her feet barely touching the ground, her breath coming in short gasps as she fled through the night. Her only thought was to escape, to find a sanctuary where even he could not follow. But as she ran, the realization struck her, she had nowhere left to hide. She was surrounded, alone, a hunted creature with no escape. In her desperation, she did the only thing her heart could think to do. She called upon the gods, pleading for deliverance, for any way out of this nightmare. Her words were filled with sorrow and fear, a cry so raw that the gods themselves heard it. In that moment, the earth trembled, and a transformation began, soft and silent as her own nature. Her body began to change, her form melting into something new, something beyond Priapus's reach. Her arms became slender branches, her feet sank into the soil, and her skin took on the softness of petals. She became a lotus, a flower pure and untouched, rooted in water, her beauty preserved yet forever hidden. As a lotus, Lotus found a kind of peace she had never known. Her transformation gave her refuge, a way to escape the cruelty of the world that had chased her down. Her beauty remained, but it was different now, quiet, hidden, known only to those who cared to look deeply. The lotus was her sanctuary, a place where she could be safe, serene, untouchable. In her delicate petals, in the way she opened with the sun and closed with the night, she had found a new life, one filled with the calm she had so longed for. Her transformation was her freedom, a release from the terror that had once haunted her every step. The Romans saw in the lotus a symbol of purity and resilience, a flower that rose from muddy waters to bloom untouched, its beauty unsullied by the world around it. The lotus, like Lotus herself, was a reminder that beauty and strength could coexist, that something delicate could also be unbreakable. In temples and gardens, the lotus became a sacred flower, a tribute to her story, a living memory of her courage and transformation. To gaze upon a lotus was to see not only beauty but a tale of endurance, of a soul that refused to be conquered. And so, Lotus lived on in every lotus that bloomed, her spirit woven into each petal, her peace found in the still waters where her roots held firm. In every pond, in every quiet place where the lotus floated, her presence lingered, a reminder that even in the face of fear, one could find peace and strength, and beauty that no force could ever take away. There once lived a nymph named Syrinx, whose beauty was matched only by her grace and gentle spirit. Her presence was a quiet melody in the forest, a peaceful rhythm among the trees and streams. Syrinx cherished the untouched woods where she roamed freely, her heart bound to the purity of nature. She was admired for her kindness and her purity, qualities that radiated from her like the warmth of morning light filtering through the trees. But it was her simplicity, her innocence, that drew the attention of one who would disrupt the peace she so loved. The god Pan, wild and untamed as the mountains he wandered, was struck by her beauty. He was a creature of wild passion, his heart fierce and impulsive. From the moment he saw Syrinx, he desired her with an intensity that frightened her. His eyes followed her, his steps matched hers as he pursued her through the forest. There was no escape from his gaze, no place in the woods where she felt safe. She ran from him, her breath quick with fear, her heart aching with a dread that grew with each pounding step. The forest that had once been her sanctuary now seemed to close in on her, its shadows deepening, her path winding ever closer to her fate. Pan's pursuit was relentless. Syrinx, her chest heaving with exhaustion, ran to the river's edge, her body trembling with fear and desperation. She could feel his presence drawing near, his steps closing the distance between them. She had nowhere to turn, no way to escape. In her despair, she cried out to the river gods, pleading for deliverance, for release from the fate that seemed inevitable. Her voice, filled with sorrow and fear, echoed across the water, her heart breaking as she prayed for salvation. In that moment, her form began to change, her body dissolving, blending into the reeds that lined the river's edge. Pan arrived just as the transformation was complete, reaching out only to find that Syrinx was gone, her essence lost to the river and the reeds. She had become one with the water, her spirit woven into the slender stalks swaying gently in the breeze. Pan's hands grasped nothing but empty air, his heart heavy with the realization that she had escaped him forever. Her beauty, her grace, was gone, leaving him with only the haunting memory of what he could never possess. Heartbroken and grieving, Pan found himself drawn to the reeds that now held Syrinx's spirit. He touched them gently, hearing a faint, mournful sound as the wind passed through. Inspired, he cut a few stalks and bound them together, crafting a simple flute that could echo her spirit in the only way left to him. He pressed the flute to his lips and played, his breath bringing forth a soft, sorrowful melody that seemed to carry Syrinx's soul within it. The sound was a lament, a song of loss and longing, a tribute to the love that could never be and the spirit that had found freedom in its own way. The music of Pan's flute, crafted from the very reeds that Syrinx had become, was both beautiful and haunting. With each note, her presence lingered, a reminder of her innocence, her gentleness, and her courage. The melody was filled with longing, with the memory of a love that was never returned and a spirit that could never be contained. Syrinx lived on in that music, her essence entwined with the flute, her voice forever bound to the sound that floated through the forests. The pan flute became a symbol of tragic beauty, a sound that echoed the unspoken words, the silent hopes, and the freedom she had found at last. For generations, the sound of the pan flute would drift through the forests, filling the air with a melody as bittersweet as her story. Those who heard it would feel a pang of sadness, a gentle ache that reminded them of the sacrifices made for freedom, of loves that could never be. The flute became a tribute, a voice for Syrinx, a song that whispered of the beauty that lay hidden in sacrifice and the peace found in the unyielding desire for freedom. Through Pan's music, Syrinx would always be remembered, her spirit singing on forever in the soft, mournful notes carried by the wind. In the quiet corners of ancient Rome, where the trees grew thick and the air was soft with mist, there lived a nymph named Egeria. She was unlike the others, gifted with wisdom and sight, her heart woven with understanding far beyond the knowledge of mortals. Egeria held the power to see what lay hidden, to guide those who sought her counsel with a voice that was both gentle and sure. For those who found her, she was a source of peace and strength, a presence so calm and knowing that her very gaze seemed to calm even the most troubled of hearts. But none would feel her guidance more profoundly than Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, whose life she would change forever. Numa, a king known for his goodness and love for peace, sought wisdom beyond what human hands could touch. He was a ruler with a heart that leaned toward gentleness, and in a time when the world could be harsh and unforgiving, he longed for a voice to guide him, a counsel that would bring comfort to his people. And so, in the stillness of night, he would go to Egeria, finding her by the waters of a quiet spring. It was there, under the soft glow of the moon, that she would speak to him, her words filling the air like the quiet flow of water, clear and deep. Egeria became his trusted guide, sharing with him wisdom that came from a place beyond mortal life. She taught him the ways of peace, the rites and rituals that would bind his people together, the sacred acts that would ensure harmony and balance. She spoke to him of justice, of compassion, of the kind of strength that comes not from power but from love and understanding. To Numa, she was a vision, a presence who brought light into the darkness of the unknown. With her guidance, he brought a gentleness to Rome that would echo through time, her wisdom shaping the soul of a city and the heart of a king. As years passed, Egeria's presence became like a distant memory, a soft voice in the history of Rome, yet her spirit lingered in every law that protected the weak, and every moment of peace that prevailed over war. Her wisdom became a quiet current beneath the surface of Roman life, a hidden force that held the strength of her spirit and the softness of her heart. And then, there were the Naiads, the water nymphs, guardians of rivers and springs, souls bound to the life-giving waters that nourished all of Rome. They were gentle yet powerful, their presence felt in every ripple, every stream, every cool wave that offered solace to the weary and the thirsty. Each Naiad carried a story, a unique essence woven into the river she called home. They were sacred beings, revered and honored, their waters blessed in rituals that called upon their favor, their strength, their grace. Among them was Carmentiz, a Naiad known for her gift of prophecy, whose waters offered not only refreshment but a glimpse into the future. Pilgrims would come to her spring, hoping to see beyond the veil of the present, to know what lay ahead. Carmentiz, with her quiet grace, offered visions of clarity and hope, her presence a gentle guide in a world often fraught with uncertainty. Her spring became a sanctuary, a place where the fears of tomorrow could be met with the gentle calm of her knowing gaze, her waters a balm to the anxious heart. Then there was Juturna, a Naiad of immense beauty and compassion, whose spring was a wellspring of health and healing. The Romans honored her with rituals, seeking her blessings for their health, their strength, their well-being. Her waters were sacred, blessed with a purity that seemed almost otherworldly, and those who drank from her spring felt the touch of something beyond themselves, a grace that lifted their spirits and renewed their hearts. To them, Juturna was a goddess, a healer, a protector, her presence as gentle as the river's flow yet as vital as the blood in their veins. The Naiads were woven into the very fabric of Roman life, their presence felt in each ritual that honored them, each offering laid by their water's edge. They were not just nymphs, but symbols of life itself, their stories passed down in whispers, their names spoken with reverence and love. Their waters brought solace to the weary, strength to the weak, hope to the lost. Each river, each spring, held a soul, a spirit, a story of resilience and grace. In Rome, where life was harsh and often uncertain, the Naiads were reminders of gentleness, of the beauty found in stillness and quiet places. Their waters nourished not only the body but the soul, a lifeline that connected the people to something eternal, something untouched by the passing of time. Through the Naiads, Romans found peace, a connection to a world that was vast and mysterious, a reminder that in every river, in every spring, there was a life, a spirit, a story waiting to be honored and remembered. Amid the towering trees and the quiet rustling of leaves, there lived spirits so pure, so deeply connected to the earth that they were nearly invisible, blending seamlessly with the woods they cherished. These were the dryads, the guardians of the forest, bound in spirit and soul to the trees that shaded the land. Each dryad held a unique, unbreakable bond to a single tree, her life, her heart, her very essence entwined with its roots and branches. To harm that tree was to harm the dryad herself, for their lives were inextricably woven, each a part of the other, each a mirror of beauty, strength, and quiet endurance. To see a dryad was rare, but for those who were fortunate, they caught glimpses of them in the dappled light, their forms almost translucent, as if made from the very mist that drifted through the forest. They moved with grace, their eyes reflecting the gentle wisdom of centuries, carrying the weight of the woods within them. With every gentle touch, every whispered breeze, they caressed the bark, nurtured the roots, tended to the branches that stretched skyward, feeding life into the forest with a love that was endless and unyielding. The trees, in return, held the dryads close, shielding them from storms and sheltering them from the world beyond. And though each tree was bound to its own dryad, there was a unity among them, an understanding that flowed through the forest like the sap in their veins. The trees whispered to one another, their voices carried through the roots and leaves, weaving a song that only the dryads could hear, a melody of ancient secrets and timeless bonds. When one tree was harmed, the dryads felt the pain ripple through the forest, a silent cry that broke their hearts, for to harm one tree was to harm them all. In Roman literature, the dryads became symbols of purity, of an untouchable grace that lay hidden in the depths of the wilderness. Poets wrote of their beauty, their kindness, their gentle spirits that were both fierce in their protection and tender in their love. They were a bridge between the human world and the mysteries of nature, reminders of a bond that could not be broken, a trust that could not be betrayed. To know the dryads was to know the heart of the forest itself, a world untouched by greed or cruelty, a world held together by love and life. But the dryads did not protect only their own, they watched over every creature in the forest, every leaf, every bird, every stream that trickled between the roots of the ancient trees. To the animals and plants, the dryads were mothers, caretakers who gave without ever asking for anything in return. If a storm threatened, they would stand close, their forms like shadows in the rain, whispering comfort to the branches as the winds tore through the woods. They calmed the frightened birds, sheltered the fawns in hollowed tree trunks, wrapped their arms around the flowers that trembled under the heavy raindrops. The forest was their home, their heart, their purpose. Romans admired the dryads, capturing their essence in stories that spoke of resilience, love, and quiet strength. They were seen as symbols of loyalty, beings who gave everything to protect what they loved. Their presence was a reminder of nature's beauty, a beauty that demanded respect and care. To harm a dryad's tree was an unthinkable act, one that would curse the forest and bring sorrow to the earth itself. The people honored the dryads by caring for the woods, by seeking balance in their lives, by remembering that the forest was a living, breathing entity, deserving of respect and kindness. And though they were spirits of joy and love, the dryads also held sorrow in their hearts, for they knew that life was fragile, that trees could fall, that seasons would change. They mourned for every fallen leaf, for every broken branch, their tears silent but ever present, hidden in the morning dew and the mist that drifted through the trees. Their love was boundless, but with that love came pain, a pain they bore without complaint, a testament to their strength and the depth of their devotion. In the stillness of the night, when the stars glittered above, the dryads would gather, their forms weaving through the trees, their soft laughter like the rustling of leaves. Together, they would dance beneath the starlit sky, a silent celebration of life, of the beauty that was their forest home. In that dance, there was no sadness, only a joy so profound that it became part of the earth itself, a joy that would linger in the roots, in the soil, in the quiet sigh of the trees long after they were gone. The dryads were the forest's silent protectors, their spirits as enduring as the trees they loved, their hearts as vast as the woods they called home. In every tree, there was a life, a story, a love that would never fade, a reminder that the bond between the dryads and their forest was eternal, a song sung softly in the rustle of leaves, a whisper in the wind, a presence that would live on in the hearts of all who remembered. In ancient Rome, where towering columns stood against the sky and cobbled paths wove through bustling streets, there were places of quiet reverence and beauty devoted to the nymphs, the ethereal beings who lived in springs, rivers, trees, and forests. Unlike the grand temples of Jupiter or the warcry sanctuaries of Mars, these spaces were soft, filled with the fragrance of wildflowers, the sounds of running water, and the tranquil shade of overhanging branches. Here, people gathered not out of fear or duty but from a deep, abiding love and gratitude for the spirits who guarded nature's most precious gifts. There were small shrines nestled at the edges of clear springs, places where the water shimmered with a brightness that felt almost enchanted. These springs were thought to be the homes of Naiads, the water nymphs who protected and blessed those who visited. Romans would leave offerings, small coins, flower garlands, and cups of fresh milk, setting them gently by the water's edge. Some believed that, if they looked closely, they might catch a glimpse of a Naiad, her form just barely visible in the ripples, her eyes filled with ancient wisdom as she gazed back. To sit by these springs was to feel a peace that no temple walls could ever contain. Romans loved their festivals, and the celebrations dedicated to nymphs were among the most heartfelt and joyous. These festivals often took place under the open sky, where people felt closer to nature and to the nymphs themselves. One of the most beautiful was the Fertility, a festival devoted to honoring the waters and springs. People would decorate the springs with flowers, creating crowns and garlands that floated on the surface, as if inviting the Naiads to dance with them in silent joy. The air would fill with laughter, the smell of fresh earth and blooming flowers, and the soft songs of families gathered in gratitude and celebration. It was said that the Naiads would bless those who came to honor them, ensuring that their waters would remain clear and pure, flowing with life for another year. The groves, too, held their sacred spaces, with trees towering like silent sentinels around small shrines dedicated to the dryads. In these quiet places, people would bring offerings of bread, wine, and fruit, leaving them at the roots of ancient oaks and olive trees as tokens of gratitude. Children would sit with their mothers, listening to stories of how the dryads cared for the trees, how they mourned when a branch was broken, how they laughed in the spring when new leaves unfurled. For the Romans, each offering was a promise to the dryads, a silent vow to protect the forests and honor the lives hidden within the branches and roots. Nymphia, a festival held in spring, was another beloved time dedicated to honoring the nymphs. Entire families would gather in the countryside, in lush valleys or along riversides, to celebrate with feasting, music, and dance. People would weave wreaths of wildflowers and wear them around their heads, becoming, even if just for a day, a part of the world that the nymphs cherished and protected. Children would run barefoot through the fields, laughing and singing, their joy filling the air like the scent of blossoms. To them, the nymphs were not distant deities but friends, guardians who watched over their world with a love that was gentle, protective, and eternal. The temples to the nymphs, though fewer and smaller than those of the greater gods, were places of serene beauty. Many were simple structures, open to the wind and rain, allowing nature to weave itself into the walls and stones. The temples were often located near rivers or springs, places where people could feel the presence of the nymphs close by. Inside, there would be small statues of the nymphs, figures carved with care and devotion, their faces gentle, their postures relaxed, as if listening to the whisper of the trees or the murmur of the stream. People would light candles and place them before these statues, watching as the soft glow flickered against the stone, filling the air with warmth and peace. One temple, dedicated to the Naiads, lay in a secluded grove, hidden away from the noise and bustle of the city. Here, Romans would come seeking wisdom, for Egeria was not only a protector of springs, but a guide, a nymph who had once counseled King Numa Pompilius himself. Her temple became a place of meditation and reflection, a sanctuary where people could come in times of hardship, sitting quietly by her spring, hoping for a moment of clarity, a touch of her timeless wisdom. In that peaceful place, it was easy to feel that Egeria was listening, her presence a comfort that lingered long after one had left the grove. In every corner of Rome, From bustling cities to quiet countrysides, the nymphs were loved and honored as beings who gave without expecting anything in return. They were guardians who watched over the world not out of duty but out of love, their spirits woven into the rivers, trees, and fields that gave life to all. The Romans understood this bond and cherished it, filling their days with quiet acts of reverence, small gestures that kept the connection between human and nymph alive and strong. And so, with each offering, each festival, each whispered prayer, the people of Rome kept alive a love and respect for the nymphs that would be remembered through the ages, a silent promise held within the petals of a flower, the rustle of leaves, and the gentle flow of water over stone. In the heart of ancient Rome, where art flourished like the wildflowers in spring, nymphs danced across the canvas of culture, inspiring countless artists and poets. These ethereal beings, with their beauty and grace, became symbols of nature's wonders, captured in sculptures, paintings, and verses that echo through the ages. Their presence in Roman art is a reflection of humanity's longing for connection with the divine, the natural world, and the mysteries of existence itself. Imagine walking through the marble halls of a grand villa, where sunlight pours through tall windows, illuminating exquisite sculptures that tell stories of love, loss, and the beauty of life. Here, nymphs come alive in stone, their forms delicate and fluid, as if they might step down from their pedestals at any moment and glide through the garden beyond. The soft curves of their bodies mimic the flowing lines of rivers and the gentle sway of trees, making the viewer feel that they are part of a living tapestry. Each sculpture is a testament to the artist's admiration, capturing the essence of these enchanting creatures who embody the very spirit of nature. In Roman painting, nymphs often graced frescoes that adorned the walls of homes and public spaces. These vibrant images depicted scenes of leisure and celebration, where nymphs frolicked in lush landscapes, surrounded by flowers and flowing water. The colors were bright, evoking the beauty of a sunlit day, and the joy of life that resonates with anyone who gazes upon them. In these artworks, nymphs were not mere subjects, they were symbols of fertility, love, and the divine connection between humanity and the earth. To see a nymph depicted in such a way was to feel the promise of spring, the warmth of the sun, and the tender caress of a gentle breeze. Poets, too, were captivated by nymphs, weaving their stories into verses that sang of love and longing. Their words painted pictures of nymphs wandering through meadows, their laughter mingling with the babbling of brooks, their tears turning into the dew that kissed the grass at dawn. The nymphs embodied a pure, innocent love, often intertwined with the hearts of mortal men, creating tales of beauty and sorrow that resonated deeply with readers. In this poetry, the nymphs became metaphors for fleeting moments of joy and the ephemeral nature of life itself, reminding everyone that beauty is often found in the most delicate of things. One of the most famous tales involves Echo, a nymph cursed to repeat the words of others. In the hands of poets, her story became a reflection of love unfulfilled and the pain of longing. The tragic beauty of Echo's existence resonates with anyone who has ever loved deeply, only to find their affections unreturned. Her story is one of heartbreak, a reminder that sometimes love is not enough, and the world can be cruel. Yet, even in her sorrow, there is a grace that lingers, much like the fading echoes of a sweet song. As the years passed, the influence of these Roman depictions of nymphs spread beyond their time, reaching into the hearts of artists during the Renaissance and later artistic movements. The rebirth of classical ideals in art saw a resurgence of interest in the nymphs of old. Artists like Botticelli and Raphael drew inspiration from Roman themes, creating works that celebrated the beauty and allure of these mythical beings. The connection between humanity and nature was explored through the lens of nymphs, making them timeless symbols of love, fertility, and the profound bond shared with the natural world. In more modern times, the legacy of nymphs continues to resonate. Their ethereal beauty and connection to nature inspire contemporary artists, poets, and writers. The themes of love, loss, and longing expressed through the stories of nymphs remain relevant, echoing in the hearts of those who seek beauty in the world around them. The spirit of the nymphs lives on in every garden that blossoms, in every stream that flows, and in every heart that dares to love. When we look back at the art and literature of ancient Rome, we see not just depictions of nymphs, but reflections of human emotion, the yearning for connection, and the celebration of nature. The nymphs serve as a reminder that even in our modern world, where the hustle and bustle of life can often drown out the soft whispers of nature, there exists a deep, abiding beauty that is worth cherishing. The stories, sculptures, and paintings dedicated to them capture moments of joy, love, and heartbreak, resonating with anyone who has ever felt the touch of beauty in their lives. In a world that sometimes feels overwhelming, the gentle presence of nymphs in Roman art and literature invites us to pause, to breathe, and to reconnect with the beauty that surrounds us. Their tales remind us that love can be found in the most unexpected places, that nature holds a magic all its own, and that the human spirit is capable of profound emotions. Each piece of art, each line of poetry, serves as a bridge to the past, allowing us to feel the heartbeat of those who came before, to experience their joys and sorrows, and to find comfort in the enduring legacy of nymphs. In the quiet corners of ancient forests and by the shimmering shores of crystal-clear springs, nymphs whispered tales of love and seduction. These ethereal beings, both beautiful and beguiling, became the object of desire for many a mortal heart. Stories of their interactions with humans are filled with passion, longing, and lessons that echo through time, reminding us of the delicate balance between the mortal and the divine. One of the most enchanting stories revolves around the nymph, Calypso, who resided on the island of Ogygia. A beautiful goddess, she captivated the heart of the hero Odysseus. After a fierce storm stranded him on her shores, Calypso fell deeply in love. Her love was pure, but it was also possessive, as she kept him on the island for many years, longing for his companionship. The sweet, intoxicating allure of her love drew Odysseus away from his own home, creating a bond that felt eternal yet suffocating. Calypso's tale reminds us that love, while often portrayed as a fairy tale, can have shadows lurking behind its beauty. It shows that even the most enchanting relationships can sometimes lead to a sense of entrapment. This bittersweet narrative resonates deeply with anyone who has ever felt torn between love and freedom. It's a reminder that genuine affection should come with respect for one's independence. Then there is the story of the woodland nymph, Echo, who became infatuated with Narcissus, a young man of extraordinary beauty. Echo's love was unreturned, as Narcissus was consumed by his own reflection in the water. Unable to express her feelings, Echo faded away, leaving only her voice behind. The tragedy of Echo and Narcissus captures the pain of unrequited love, a feeling that many have faced at one point in their lives. It illustrates how love can be both a source of joy and a wellspring of sorrow. The lesson here is profound. True love involves reciprocity. Another captivating tale is that of the Naiads, water nymphs who often interacted with mortals, drawing them to their serene waters. These encounters were marked by moments of tenderness and temptation, as Naiads would sing enchanting melodies to lure men into their embrace. While these meetings could lead to beautiful connections, they also served as a cautionary tale. The waters, while inviting, held secrets that could lead to danger. The men who were drawn too close often faced peril, drowned by the very beauty they sought. This interaction with the Naiads teaches us to be cautious of allurements that seem too perfect. In life, we often encounter situations that seem irresistible, but it's vital to recognize the potential risks that accompany such temptations. The Naiads embodied the duality of beauty and danger, a reminder that not all that glitters is gold. The myths surrounding nymphs also shed light on the nature of human relationships. Many tales speak of encounters where nymphs fell in love with mortals, forming deep emotional bonds. These interactions were often fleeting, with the nymphs ultimately returning to their natural domains. For instance, the story of the dryads, tree nymphs who cherished the forests, illustrates how they would weep when their beloved trees were harmed. Their sorrow for their lost homes was a reflection of the connection they had with the natural world, and it served as a powerful reminder of the impact of human actions on nature. Through their tears, the dryads taught humans the importance of empathy and responsibility towards the environment. Their love for the trees was a call to honor and protect the world around us. Each interaction with a nymph was steeped in lessons about respect for nature, for one another, and for the fleeting beauty of life itself. Nymph encounters often led to profound transformations in those who dared to love them. The stories depict men who became wiser, more attuned to their emotions, and more aware of the beauty surrounding them. These interactions fostered personal growth, illuminating paths toward understanding and enlightenment. Through love, the mortals learned to cherish the world and the feelings that came with it, echoing the sentiment that love has the power to change us fundamentally. Despite the allure and charm of nymphs, their stories often caution against the dangers of obsession. Many nymphs, like the beautiful Syrinx, experienced heartbreak when pursued too aggressively by Pan, the god of the wild. To escape his advances, Syrinx transformed into a reed, which Pan later used to create his flute. This tale emphasizes the importance of boundaries in love and the necessity of consent. True love respects the will of the other person and recognizes when to step back. The interactions between nymphs and humans are marked by lessons learned through love, longing, and sometimes loss. The stories linger in the air like a soft breeze, stirring emotions that resonate deeply within us. Each myth reveals a truth about the human experience, reminding us that love can uplift, inspire, and transform, but it can also wound and entrap. As we reflect on these ancient tales, it's clear that nymphs, with their enchanting beauty and tragic narratives, mirror our own experiences. They remind us of the complexities of love and the delicate nature of our connections with one another. The lessons learned from these encounters resonate across generations, guiding us to approach love with open hearts and thoughtful minds. In a world where relationships can often feel complicated and overwhelming, the myths of nymphs serve as gentle reminders of the importance of love, respect, and understanding. The stories of their interactions with humans, filled with passion and pain, inspire us to cherish the bonds we form and to honor the beauty that surrounds us. Each encounter, whether joyous or sorrowful, shapes our understanding of love and our connection to the world, echoing through time like the soft, sweet songs of the nymphs themselves. In the quiet corners of ancient Roman classrooms, nymphs danced across the pages of texts, weaving lessons that extended beyond the mere pursuit of knowledge. They were more than just enchanting figures in myths. They became symbols of moral teachings, embodying the virtues and values that guided young minds. These ethereal beings held the power to shape character and instill wisdom in a society eager to cultivate virtue in its youth. The tales of nymphs often carried profound moral lessons, reminding students of the importance of respect, humility, and the natural world. Each nymph, whether a serene naiad or a wise dryad, represented ideals that Roman educators sought to impart. The beauty of the nymphs was not just in their form but in their essence. They became teachers, using their stories to engage the hearts and minds of those who listened. For instance, the story of Echo, whose love for Narcissus turned tragic, was often recounted in classrooms. Echo's tale taught the value of selflessness and the dangers of unrequited love. Young students learned that while love could inspire, it could also lead to heartache if one becomes too absorbed in another, forgetting the importance of self-worth. Echo's fading voice echoed the importance of finding balance in relationships, a lesson that resonates even today. Nymphs also embodied the connection between humanity and nature. The dryads, the tree nymphs, were perfect representations of loyalty and sacrifice. Their stories illustrated the harmony that should exist between humans and the environment. When a tree was harmed, a dryad could perish along with it, showing students that every action has consequences. This bond urged young minds to respect the earth and consider their impact on the environment. It was a powerful teaching tool, urging them to become guardians of nature, cherishing the beauty that surrounded them. Nymphs were not just symbols of beauty, they were also embodiments of the virtues that educators sought to instill in their students. Stories of their deeds often served as cautionary tales. For example, the Naiads, known for their enchanting beauty, were sometimes portrayed as temptresses who could lead men astray. The presence of these captivating figures in literature served to warn young men about the dangers of indulgence and the importance of discipline. By recognizing the allure of the Naiads, students learned to value moderation and restraint in their own lives. The stories of nymphs found their way into educational texts, where they served as moral compasses for young minds. They were not merely figures of fantasy but representations of the qualities that Romans aspired to uphold. Texts often highlighted their wisdom, kindness, and sense of duty. Nymphs became teachers in their own right, guiding students toward virtuous behavior and reminding them of their responsibilities to themselves and society. In Roman literature, nymphs were frequently depicted engaging in acts of kindness, helping lost travelers, or nurturing the earth. These tales resonated with students, illustrating the power of compassion and community. They learned that helping others and fostering connections were as important as academic achievement. This sense of duty to one another was a fundamental aspect of Roman education, and the nymph stories provided a vivid reminder of this principle. Through poetry and prose, nymphs represented the duality of life, beauty and danger, love and heartbreak, joy and sorrow. The emotional depth of their stories made them relatable to students. These narratives allowed young learners to grapple with their feelings, to see their own experiences reflected in the tales of these mythical beings. They learned that it was okay to feel deeply, to love passionately, and to mourn loss. The nymphs' experiences became mirrors through which students could explore their own emotions and develop empathy for others. Nymphs also served as muses for aspiring poets and writers, igniting the flames of creativity within the minds of young Romans. They symbolized inspiration, showing students the beauty of expression. In classrooms filled with scrolls and ink, students wrote poems that celebrated nature, love, and the lessons imparted by these divine beings. The nymphs became the embodiment of artistic inspiration, encouraging young writers to find their own voices and share their truths. The presence of nymphs in Roman education went beyond mere storytelling. It fostered a rich tapestry of values and virtues that shaped the character of the young. The lessons learned through these tales were woven into the very fabric of Roman society. Educators understood that the stories of nymphs would not only enrich the minds of their students but also cultivate the hearts of future leaders. In a world that often felt overwhelming, the nymphs provided a sense of hope and connection. They were gentle reminders of the beauty that exists in the world, urging students to look beyond the chaos and find solace in nature and each other. The nymphs taught young Romans to appreciate the simple joys of life, to find inspiration in the everyday, and to nurture the bonds they formed with their peers. As the students of ancient Rome listened to these tales, they were not just hearing stories, they were absorbing lessons that would guide them throughout their lives. The nymphs became a bridge between the world of myth and the reality of human experience, fostering a sense of moral responsibility and respect for the world around them. In this way, nymphs played a crucial role in shaping the minds and hearts of Roman youth. Their presence in educational texts served as a powerful tool for instilling values that resonated through generations. Through the enchanting tales of love, sacrifice, and wisdom, nymphs became symbols of moral teachings that would forever echo in the hearts of those who listened. In the heart of ancient Rome, where the earth breathed life and the fields shimmered with golden grains, nymphs were revered as symbols of fertility and abundance. These enchanting beings were not just figments of imagination, they represented the life force that flowed through nature, nurturing the soil and ensuring the crops flourished. The connection between nymphs and agriculture was profound, intertwining their existence with the very essence of life itself. As the seasons changed, the nymphs danced among the fields, their laughter echoing in the warm summer breeze. Farmers relied on these divine spirits to bless their harvests. When the soil was tilled and seeds were sown, it was the nymphs who were invoked, their names whispered in prayer. Each spring, when the earth awakened from its slumber, people would gather to celebrate the return of life, their hearts brimming with hope and anticipation. The nymphs were seen as guardians of the land, and their presence was felt in every blade of grass and blooming flower. In those sacred moments, communities came together for festivals that honored the nymphs. The air was thick with the fragrance of wildflowers, and the vibrant colors of blooming petals painted a picture of joy and renewal. The festivals were filled with laughter, music, and dancing. People adorned themselves with garlands of blossoms, believing that wearing flowers was a way to honor the nymphs and invite their blessings. Young girls would weave floral crowns, symbolizing their connection to the earth and their hopes for the future. During these celebrations, ancient rituals were performed to pay homage to the nymphs. Farmers would bring their first fruits to the altars, laying them down as offerings in gratitude for the abundance bestowed upon them. The sweet scent of ripe fruits mingled with the earthy aroma of freshly tilled soil, creating an atmosphere rich with reverence and gratitude. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow, the festivities reached a crescendo. People danced in a circle, their movements mimicking the sway of the fields and the gentle wind, embodying the very spirit of nature. The nymphs were not just symbols of fertility, they were the embodiment of life itself. Their connection to agriculture was a reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and the earth. In a world where survival depended on the harvest, the nymphs represented hope, urging farmers to respect the land and nurture it as it nurtured them. This bond fostered a deep understanding of the cycles of nature, teaching communities to honor the earth's rhythms and embrace the changing seasons. As summer arrived, the crops reached their peak, transforming the landscape into a patchwork of vibrant colors. Fields of wheat swayed like waves under the sun, and orchards overflowed with fruits. In these moments of abundance, gratitude filled the hearts of the people. They knew that the nymphs had heard their prayers and blessed their labor. The joy of a bountiful harvest was a testament to the bond between humanity and the divine. Yet, the story of the nymphs also reminded people of the fragility of life. Droughts and floods could turn a flourishing landscape into a barren wasteland. During challenging times, communities would gather once more, this time to plead for mercy from the nymphs. They would fast and perform rituals, hoping to gain favor and restore balance to their lives. The echoes of their prayers filled the air, mingling with the whispers of the wind. In their hearts, they carried the belief that the nymphs, with their nurturing spirits, would hear their cries. One of the most cherished festivals was dedicated to the goddess Flora, the embodiment of flowers and fertility. As the celebration approached, anticipation coursed through the streets. Families prepared by decorating their homes with colorful blooms, creating a kaleidoscope of beauty. The festival was a vibrant reminder of the earth's generosity and the cycles of life. Young couples would come together to pledge their love, believing that the blessings of Flora would ensure their union was fruitful and filled with joy. During the festival, the people would gather in the fields, their voices rising in unison as they sang songs of praise. Each note carried the weight of their hopes and dreams. The rhythm of their dance resonated with the heartbeat of the earth, as if the very ground beneath their feet rejoiced alongside them. In these moments, worries faded away, replaced by a shared sense of community and love for the land that sustained them. As twilight descended, the festival reached its climax. The flickering light of torches illuminated the faces of the revelers, their smiles reflecting the joy of life. They shared stories of the nymphs, tales passed down through generations, connecting them to their ancestors and their shared history. Each story was a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of honoring the forces that shaped their lives. Through the celebration of fertility and abundance, the nymphs taught valuable lessons about gratitude and respect. They were not mere myths, they were vital threads in the fabric of Roman society. The people understood that their well-being depended on their relationship with the earth and the divine spirits that watched over them. This understanding fostered a deep sense of stewardship, urging them to protect the land and cherish the gifts it provided. In the quiet moments of reflection after the festivals, the stories of the nymphs lingered in the hearts of those who had gathered. They carried with them the warmth of community and the blessings of the earth. The nymphs were symbols of hope, reminding everyone that, just like the changing seasons, life was filled with cycles of growth, love, and renewal. Their presence was felt in every seed sown, every flower bloomed, and every fruit harvested, a timeless reminder of the beauty and fragility of existence. In the golden glow of the Roman sun, when the air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of rustling leaves, nymphs became the very essence of inspiration. These ethereal beings were not just guardians of nature, they were muses that sparked creativity in the hearts of poets and philosophers. Their beauty and grace stirred emotions, transforming ordinary thoughts into magnificent verses and profound philosophies that echoed through time. Picture a quiet grove by a shimmering stream, where the light dances off the water like laughter. In this sacred space, poets would sit, their hearts heavy with longing or joy, searching for words that could express the depths of their feelings. The gentle murmur of the water would weave its way into their thoughts, whispering secrets of love and beauty. It was here that nymphs appeared, cloaked in the light of the sun, their laughter ringing like chimes in the breeze. They inspired poets to pen verses that captured the essence of fleeting moments, weaving the magic of life into their words. These nymphs were more than mere figments of imagination, they represented the very force of creativity itself. As the poets watched the nymphs dance among the trees, their hearts swelled with inspiration. They wrote about love as a wildflower blooming in the midst of a storm, about longing as a river that flows endlessly, seeking its way home. The nymphs symbolized the beauty of emotions, the complexity of human experiences, and the fleeting nature of life. Their presence transformed the mundane into the extraordinary, filling the world with a sense of wonder. In the bustling streets of Rome, philosophers would gather in shaded alcoves, sharing ideas that shaped the course of thought. They often spoke of the nymphs as embodiments of knowledge and wisdom. Their lives were seen as reflections of the natural world, a reminder that true understanding comes from living in harmony with nature. The philosophers would draw parallels between the nymphs' grace and the pursuit of truth, encouraging others to seek beauty and simplicity and depth in their connections with the earth. The stories of the nymphs also served as cautionary tales. Some philosophers warned against the dangers of obsession and unfulfilled desire, using the nymphs' tragic encounters with mortals to illustrate the fragile balance between love and longing. They shared tales of nymphs who fell in love with humans, only to be left heartbroken when their affections were unreturned. These stories resonated deeply, prompting discussions about the nature of love and the importance of empathy in human relationships. As the poets and philosophers poured their hearts into their works, the influence of the nymphs echoed in every line. Their tales of adventure, heartache, and joy inspired countless individuals to reflect on their own experiences. The nymphs became symbols of the unquenchable thirst for creativity, urging each person to find their own voice in a world often filled with noise. The beauty of a nymph's laughter or the softness of her touch became metaphors for the moments that inspire us all, those fleeting instances that take our breath away and fill us with hope. In the warmth of their gatherings, artists began to emerge, inspired by the nymphs to create sculptures and paintings that captured the essence of their beauty. They portrayed nymphs dancing in lush gardens, surrounded by blossoms, their hair flowing like rivers of gold. These artworks told stories of the nymphs' enchanting presence, reminding viewers of the connection between creativity and nature. The colors and forms came alive, inviting people to step into a world where imagination reigned. Through these artistic expressions, the nymphs became woven into the very fabric of Roman culture. They served as reminders of the power of beauty to heal and inspire. Festivals were held in their honor, where poets recited verses that stirred hearts, and musicians played melodies that echoed the songs of the nymphs. The air would be filled with joy, and for a brief moment, the worries of the world would fade away, replaced by a sense of unity and celebration. The legacy of the nymphs as muses extended far beyond the borders of Rome. Their influence rippled through time, reaching poets and artists of later generations. The Romanticism of the Renaissance revived the allure of the nymphs, inspiring works that celebrated nature and the beauty of the human experience. Artists would paint breathtaking scenes of nymphs frolicking in meadows, inviting viewers to immerse themselves in a world where dreams and reality intertwined. In the heart of every artist, there remains a spark ignited by the nymphs, the reminder that inspiration can be found in the simplest of moments. Whether in the laughter of a child, the rustling of leaves, or the warmth of a gentle breeze, the spirit of the nymphs lives on. They urge us to see the world through a lens of wonder and to embrace our creativity without fear. As the sun sets over the horizon, casting a golden hue upon the land, the stories of the nymphs linger in the air, an eternal whisper encouraging us to seek inspiration in all that surrounds us. They remind us that the creative spirit is alive within each of us, waiting to be awakened by the beauty of life. In every heartbeat and every breath, the essence of the nymphs inspires poets to write, philosophers to think, and artists to create, shaping the world with the magic of their imagination. In the soft light of dawn, as the first rays of sun kissed the earth, people gathered by the sparkling springs, their hearts full of hope. These springs, believed to be blessed by nymphs, were not just sources of water, they were places of healing, where ancient beliefs intertwined with the natural world. The very thought of the nymphs, guardians of the waters and protectors of well-being, filled the air with a sense of magic and reverence. For the people of ancient Rome, the springs were more than mere water sources, they were sacred sites where the essence of life flowed freely. They believed that the nymphs, with their ethereal beauty and grace, had the power to heal. Each drop from these springs was seen as a gift, a connection to the divine, capable of washing away ailments and restoring health. The gentle sound of water cascading over rocks was like a soothing lullaby, calming the weary soul seeking solace. As villagers approached the springs, they would whisper prayers, asking for the nymphs' blessings. The air was thick with expectation as mothers held their sick children close, hoping for relief from their suffering. The villagers would collect water in clay pots, careful not to spill a single drop. They believed that the water held the essence of the nymphs, and with it came the promise of healing. It was a ritual passed down through generations, a reminder that they were never alone in their struggles. People shared stories of miraculous recoveries attributed to the nymphs' gifts. One such tale spoke of a woman who had lost hope, her body weak and frail. She ventured to the spring, her heart heavy with despair. As she dipped her hands into the cool water, she felt a rush of energy. It was as if the nymphs themselves were enveloping her in a warm embrace. With each splash, her spirit lifted, and slowly, she began to heal. The nymphs, it seemed, had heard her silent plea, and in their presence, she found the strength to fight. The springs also became places for communal healing. Villagers gathered to share their experiences, forming bonds over the shared belief in the nymphs' power. They would sing songs of gratitude, their voices harmonizing with the gentle gurgle of the water. It was a celebration of life and resilience, where joy mingled with sorrow, and hope thrived even in the darkest moments. In these gatherings, laughter echoed as stories were told and wisdom was shared, reminding everyone that they were part of something greater. The nymphs, revered as guardians of health, also symbolized the delicate balance between nature and humanity. Their existence was a reminder that healing often came from the earth itself. The villagers learned to honor this connection, understanding that their well-being was intertwined with the health of the land. They tended to the springs and the surrounding nature, recognizing that the beauty of the nymphs lay not only in their enchanting presence but also in the vibrant life they nurtured. Beyond the springs, the nymphs were woven into the fabric of healing practices. Ancient texts spoke of herbal remedies infused with the spirit of the nymphs, derived from plants that thrived near the water's edge. Healers would gather herbs under the watchful eye of the nymphs, creating potions believed to carry their essence. Each leaf and root held a story, a connection to the divine, and the healers approached their craft with reverence and love. When sickness swept through the villages, the people turned to these healers, seeking relief. The healers, channeling the wisdom of the nymphs, prepared their remedies with care. As they mixed ingredients, they would invoke the nymphs' names, believing that their spirits would bless the concoctions. The villagers trusted in the healing power of nature, knowing that the nymphs would guide the healers' hands and fill their potions with hope. In the quiet of night, when the world was still, people would gather by the springs to reflect on their lives. They would share their fears, dreams, and heartaches, their voices rising like prayers into the starlit sky. With each story told, the burden of their worries seemed lighter. They felt the presence of the nymphs around them, comforting and reassuring. It was as if the nymphs listened to every word, offering understanding and compassion in their time of need. As dawn broke, casting golden rays upon the water, the villagers left the springs with renewed spirits. They carried with them not just the healing water, but also a deep sense of connection to the earth and each other. The nymphs, with their timeless grace, reminded them that healing was not just about the body, it was about nurturing the soul and fostering relationships. In moments of despair, the villagers looked to the springs, knowing that the nymphs would always be there, their gentle spirits intertwined with the waters. They found strength in the stories of those who had come before them, in the hope that echoed through generations. The springs became more than a place of healing, they were a sanctuary where the human spirit could flourish, nourished by the love and protection of the nymphs. With every visit to the springs, the villagers felt a renewed sense of purpose. They understood that their connection to the nymphs went beyond mere belief, it was a living, breathing part of who they were. The waters flowed with life, carrying with them the whispers of the nymphs, guiding each person on their journey toward healing, love, and hope. In this sacred space, they discovered that the heart could heal, the spirit could soar, and the bond with nature could transform lives. In the soft glow of twilight, the world seemed to pause, holding its breath in admiration of the nymphs. These enchanting beings, often found in the serene embrace of nature, represented the beauty and grace that many in Roman society aspired to embody. They were more than mere figures of myth, they were symbols of femininity, weaving a tapestry of ideals that resonated deeply within the hearts of women and men alike. The nymphs danced through the woods and flowed with the rivers, their laughter echoing like sweet music through the air. To many, they were the perfect embodiment of womanhood, delicate yet strong, nurturing yet free. Their ethereal presence inspired poets and artists who sought to capture their essence in words and images. In these portrayals, the nymphs were not just reflections of nature, they represented the ideals of beauty, purity, and virtue that society cherished. Women looked to the nymphs for inspiration. They saw in these mythical beings a vision of themselves, playful, loving, and connected to the earth. The nymphs were free spirits, dancing without a care, embodying a sense of freedom that many women longed for in a world often filled with constraints. In the nymphs' joyous movements, women found hope that they too could express their desires and passions, breaking free from the societal expectations that sought to bind them. Yet, with this beauty came vulnerability. The stories of nymphs often carried undercurrents of sorrow and longing. They were frequently pursued by gods and mortals alike, their beauty causing envy and desire. This duality captured the essence of femininity in Roman society, illustrating the delicate balance between allure and the constant threat of being objectified. The nymphs' tales served as a poignant reminder of the struggles women faced, the need to navigate their identities in a world that often saw them as mere objects of beauty. One of the most poignant stories was that of Echo, a nymph whose voice became her prison. In her tale, she was cursed to repeat the words of others, silencing her own desires and thoughts. This story resonated deeply, evoking sympathy and compassion for women who felt voiceless in their own lives. Echo's fate mirrored the struggles many faced, caught between their desires and the expectations placed upon them. The nymphs also embodied the nurturing aspect of femininity. They were seen as caretakers of nature, responsible for the growth of plants, the flow of rivers, and the fertility of the earth. In Roman society, this connection to nature elevated them to a status of reverence, as they were believed to have the power to bless or curse the lands. Women, in turn, were often seen in a similar light, as nurturers of families, keepers of homes, and caretakers of traditions. The nymphs, with their gentle spirits, provided a model for women to aspire to, showing them that strength could be found in tenderness and that beauty could bloom from nurturing love. Festivals honoring the nymphs were colorful celebrations, filled with music, dance, and laughter. During these festivities, women adorned themselves in flowers and flowing garments, embodying the nymphs' grace. They celebrated not just the beauty of the nymphs, but also their own femininity, finding joy and strength in their connection to nature. The vibrant colors and lively dances brought communities together, reminding everyone that femininity was something to be celebrated and cherished. As the seasons changed, so too did the representation of nymphs in art and literature. Their portrayals shifted from purely idealized forms to more complex characters, embodying both strength and vulnerability. This evolution reflected the growing recognition of women's experiences, acknowledging the depth and richness of their lives. The stories of the nymphs became a canvas upon which the hopes, fears, and dreams of women were painted, allowing for a deeper understanding of femininity. In the stillness of the night, when the stars twinkled above like scattered diamonds, the spirit of the nymphs lived on in the hearts of those who believed. Women found solace in the tales of these mythical beings, using their stories as a source of empowerment. The nymphs reminded them that they were not alone in their struggles and that their beauty was not defined by the gaze of others, but by their own self-acceptance and love. The connection between nymphs and the women of Rome was profound. Each tale, each festival, each whisper of the wind carried the essence of the nymph spirit, empowering women to embrace their identities fully. The nymphs became symbols of hope, guiding women toward a deeper understanding of their strength and beauty. They represented not just an ideal to strive for, but a reminder that femininity was multifaceted, filled with joy, sorrow, love, and resilience. As the dawn approached, casting a warm glow over the land, the nymphs continued to dance in the hearts of all who believed in their magic. They were a reminder that femininity is a beautiful, complex tapestry, woven with threads of strength and vulnerability. In their ethereal presence, the women of Rome found a reflection of themselves, a celebration of all they could be and all they could achieve. The nymphs stood as timeless figures of inspiration, reminding everyone that the true essence of femininity lies in embracing one's own story, one's own beauty, and the power to shape one's destiny. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the stories of nymphs whispered through the leaves, carrying tales of beauty and sorrow. Once celebrated as the divine guardians of nature, nymphs enchanted the hearts of ancient Romans, embodying the essence of life, love, and the untamed wilderness. However, as centuries passed and beliefs shifted, the perception of these magical beings began to change. In the beginning, nymphs were revered as sacred figures tied to the very elements of the earth. They danced in the meadows and flowed with the rivers, their laughter a melody that celebrated life's joys. Each nymph represented a different aspect of nature, from the refreshing streams to the towering trees. The Romans honored them in rituals and festivals, believing these ethereal beings had the power to bless their lands and bring forth bountiful harvests. People would gather near springs and groves, offering flowers and songs to the nymphs, hoping to gain their favor and protection. But as the ages turned, the rise of new ideologies began to cast shadows over the once bright tales of nymphs. The advent of Christianity brought with it a wave of change, reshaping the landscape of beliefs and traditions. The nymphs, once seen as benevolent spirits, began to be viewed with suspicion. They were associated with the old pagan ways, which were deemed as superstitions or even heresy. The sacred springs that once flowed with blessings became mere symbols of a bygone era, their significance diminished as people turned to new faiths. In this new world, nymphs transformed from symbols of beauty and harmony to cautionary tales. Their stories, once filled with joy and wonder, took on darker tones. The free-spirited nymphs were often portrayed as temptresses, luring innocent souls into the depths of forests and waters. The essence of their character morphed, reflecting the fears and anxieties of a society that sought to control and contain the wildness of nature and womanhood. The tales of seduction and abandonment emerged, a stark contrast to the nurturing spirits they had once been. Amid this transformation, there was a profound loss. The gentle whispers of the nymphs faded into echoes of sorrow, replaced by a narrative that painted them as deceitful and dangerous. The vibrant festivals celebrating their beauty turned into somber reflections of morality. Nymphs were no longer honored in the same way. Instead, they became subjects of cautionary tales, reminding people of the perils of temptation. Yet, even in the shadows, the spirit of the nymphs endured. Artists and poets, despite the shifting tides, found inspiration in their stories, weaving them into the fabric of their works. The nymphs emerged in literature, sometimes as symbols of lost innocence, capturing the hearts of those who yearned for the freedom and joy that had once defined them. Through these portrayals, the nymphs retained a flicker of their original magic, becoming vessels for the complex emotions of love, loss, and longing. As time went on, the nymphs began to adapt to their new roles in society. They became figures of nostalgia, representing the lost connection between humanity and nature. Their stories served as reminders of what had been lost in the pursuit of progress and order. The connection to nature that the nymphs embodied became a distant memory, replaced by a world increasingly dominated by the constraints of civilization. Even within the confines of Christian teachings, the essence of the nymphs managed to seep through. The figures of saints, often depicted with natural elements, reflected the beauty and grace once attributed to the nymphs. The gardens of the church and the flowing waters of baptism began to echo the sacred spaces where nymphs had once danced. Though their names may have faded, their spirit lingered in the hearts of those who sought solace in nature. The transformation of nymph mythology reflects the broader changes in society's relationship with the natural world. As the reverence for these ethereal beings diminished, so did the connection to the earth itself. The stories of nymphs remind us of a time when nature was seen as a source of life and inspiration, not just a resource to be exploited. The longing for that connection persisted, even as the myths evolved. In modern times, a resurgence of interest in the old tales has begun to take shape. The nymphs are being rediscovered as symbols of the environment and the feminine spirit. Their stories resonate with those who seek to reclaim the wildness of nature, celebrating the beauty that lies within both the earth and themselves. People yearn for the freedom and joy that the nymphs once represented, understanding that these tales are not just relics of the past, but lessons for the present. The evolution of nymph myths serves as a poignant reminder of the fluid nature of belief and the enduring power of stories. While the perception of nymphs has shifted dramatically, their essence remains, woven into the very fabric of humanity's relationship with nature. The spirit of the nymphs lives on in the hearts of those who remember the beauty of the wild, the strength of femininity, and the importance of connection to the earth. As the last rays of sunlight faded into twilight, the nymphs danced in the shadows, waiting to be rediscovered. Their laughter, echoing softly through the trees, called out to those willing to listen. In the depths of the woods and beside the gentle streams, their stories still whispered promises of beauty, freedom, and the eternal bond between humanity and nature. Laughter and drama filled the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where the sounds of life echoed off stone walls and mingled with the whispers of the gods. Among the lively performances, nymphs emerged as colorful characters, captivating audiences in the comedies of playwrights like Lotus and Syrinx. Their light-hearted, often mischievous portrayals reflected the joys and follies of life, but beneath the laughter lay a rich tapestry of social commentary, revealing deeper truths about love, desire, and the human condition. Nymphs in these comedies were not just enchanting figures of nature, they represented the desires and dreams of the people. Lotus, known for his clever wordplay and humor, crafted characters that often walked a fine line between the sacred and the profane. In plays like Amphitryon and The Pot of Gold, nymphs appeared as embodiments of love, mischief, and temptation. Their beauty and charm captivated the hearts of men, stirring emotions that were both joyful and tumultuous. In a world where relationships were often transactional, the nymphs brought a sense of spontaneity and unpredictability. They were free spirits, dancing through life with abandon, challenging societal norms and expectations. Audiences could not help but feel a sense of longing as they watched these characters glide across the stage, embodying the essence of youthful exuberance. The laughter they inspired was tinged with a bittersweet recognition of the constraints imposed by reality. Syrinx, another celebrated playwright, offered a more nuanced portrayal of nymphs. In plays like The Eunuch and The Mother-in-Law, he infused his characters with depth and emotion, capturing the complexities of love and desire. The nymphs were no longer just objects of desire, they became individuals with hopes, dreams, and struggles of their own. Through their interactions with male characters, the nymphs revealed the intricacies of relationships, exposing the vulnerabilities and insecurities that lay beneath the surface. One can imagine a scene where a nymph, full of life and laughter, finds herself torn between the affections of two suitors. The tension in the air crackles as she navigates her feelings, her heart a battlefield. The audience watches with bated breath, feeling the weight of her choice, understanding that love is rarely straightforward. In these moments, the nymphs became mirrors reflecting the audience's own experiences of love, loss, and longing. Yet, the humor in these plays often carried a sharp edge. The nymphs, despite their enchanting qualities, were also used as vehicles for social critique. Lotus and Syrinx deftly wove satire into their narratives, using nymph characters to comment on the absurdities of Roman society. The desires of the nymphs highlighted the contradictions in the lives of the characters around them, exposing hypocrisy and moral dilemmas. For instance, a wealthy man may pursue a nymph, captivated by her beauty and charm, only to reveal his own shallow intentions. The nymph, in her playful wit, could turn the tables, using her charm to outsmart her suitor, leaving the audience in fits of laughter while simultaneously provoking thought. Through these interactions, the playwrights questioned the societal norms that dictated relationships and the roles assigned to men and women. The presence of nymphs in Roman comedies served as a reminder that life is a delicate balance of joy and sorrow, laughter and tears. They illuminated the complexities of human relationships, encouraging the audience to reflect on their own experiences. In the lively gatherings, where men and women came together to witness the stories unfold, the nymphs became symbols of hope and longing, a reminder of the beauty that could be found even in the most challenging of circumstances. As the curtain fell on each performance, the nymphs left behind a trail of emotions that lingered in the hearts of the audience. They were more than just characters in a play. They represented the hopes and dreams of the people, embodying the eternal quest for love and connection. Through laughter and tears, the nymphs reminded everyone that, despite the constraints of society, the heart yearns for freedom, joy, and true companionship. Even today, the stories of nymphs in Roman comedy resonate, echoing the timeless themes of love and desire that transcend generations. They teach us that life is filled with moments of beauty and laughter, even amidst the struggles we face. As we reflect on these tales, we are reminded that the nymphs continue to inspire us, urging us to embrace our own desires and to find joy in the journey of life. In the end, the laughter that filled the Roman theaters was not just about entertainment. It was a celebration of the human spirit, a recognition of the complexities of love, and an acknowledgement of the beauty that exists in both the light and the dark. The nymphs, with their enchanting presence, bridged the gap between the divine and the mundane, reminding us all that even in a world filled with challenges, the magic of love and laughter can still shine through. In the heart of ancient Rome, whispers of nymphs danced on the warm summer breeze, blending with the laughter of children and the rustle of leaves. These enchanting beings, connected to nature and filled with life, were more than just myths. They were a vital part of the fabric of Roman culture. Their stories wove through the lives of people, inspiring artists, shaping beliefs, and leaving an indelible mark on society. Nymphs represented the essence of beauty, grace, and the untamed spirit of nature. They were celebrated in poetry, art, and theater, capturing the imaginations of both the elite and the common folk. Artists sculpted them in marble, capturing their delicate forms and radiant smiles, while poets sang of their adventures and romances. Through these expressions, nymphs became symbols of the beauty that surrounded the people, reminding them of the importance of nature in their lives. As the Roman Empire expanded, so did the influence of nymphs on its culture. Temples and shrines dedicated to these water and forest spirits dotted the landscape, each a place where people could connect with the divine and seek blessings for their harvests, marriages, and well-being. Communities gathered to honor these deities, pouring libations and offering flowers, hoping to gain favor and ensure prosperity. The bond between the nymphs and the people grew stronger, as these spirits became guardians of nature and the very essence of life itself. Yet, the allure of nymphs was not limited to their beauty alone. They were often entwined in tales of love and tragedy, reflecting the complexities of human emotions. These stories resonated deeply with the Romans, who saw parts of themselves in the struggles and triumphs of these mythical figures. The nymphs' joys and sorrows echoed the hearts of those who listened, creating a profound connection between the mythical and the real. One such story that captured the imagination was that of the nymph Echo, who fell hopelessly in love with Narcissus. Her longing was palpable, her heart breaking as she watched the object of her affection reject her love. This tale of unrequited love mirrored the experiences of many, highlighting the vulnerabilities that come with deep feelings. It served as a reminder that even the most beautiful beings could suffer, connecting the nymphs to the everyday struggles of love and loss that people faced. As the Roman Empire transitioned into the medieval period, the legacy of nymphs began to evolve. With the rise of Christianity, many pagan beliefs were challenged, but the enchanting essence of the nymphs endured, transforming into new forms within European folklore. The tales of nymphs morphed into those of fairies, spirits of the woods, and water sprites, each carrying echoes of their Roman predecessors. These beings continue to represent the delicate balance of nature and humanity, symbolizing the joys and pains of love, life, and loss. Folklore became a way for people to preserve the essence of the nymphs. Stories passed down through generations spoke of magical beings who protected forests and streams, much like their Roman ancestors. In villages across Europe, children listened with wide eyes as elders recounted tales of mischievous fairies playing tricks on humans, or benevolent spirits who aided those in need. These stories bridge the gap between ancient beliefs and new traditions, keeping the spirit of the nymphs alive. The influence of nymph myths on art and literature continued throughout the ages. As painters captured landscapes and poets penned verses inspired by nature, the essence of nymphs seeped into their work. Artists used the imagery of water and forest spirits to evoke feelings of wonder and connection to the natural world, reminding viewers of the beauty that lies in the harmony between humanity and nature. The nymphs became symbols of inspiration, guiding creativity and igniting the imagination. The legacy of nymphs also echoed through the Romantic period, where nature was celebrated as a source of beauty and inspiration. Poets like William Wordsworth and John Keats drew on the imagery of nymphs and spirits in their works, romanticizing the relationship between humans and nature. The nymphs, though transformed, continued to inspire and touch the hearts of those who sought solace in the beauty of the world around them. As modern society moved forward, the influence of nymphs persisted in various forms. From fairy tales to fantasy novels, the enchantment of these beings still captivates audiences today. The themes of love, longing, and the connection to nature resonate through the ages, reminding us of the beauty that exists in the world and the importance of cherishing it. Even as the stories of nymphs transformed, their essence remained, symbolizing the dreams and desires of people throughout history. They teach us that love can be both a source of joy and heartache, and that our connection to nature is vital to our well-being. The legacy of nymphs in Roman culture is a testament to the enduring power of myths and the profound ways they shape our understanding of the world. Their stories continue to inspire us, urging us to look beyond the surface and connect with the deeper truths of life. In every rustling leaf, every babbling brook, we can hear the whispers of these ancient spirits, reminding us to find beauty in the world around us and to honor the rich tapestry of our shared human experience. In the whispers of the wind and the rustling of leaves, tales of nymphs have traveled through time, carrying the heartbeats of two great civilizations, Greece and Rome. Both cultures revered these enchanting beings, yet the way they portrayed them tells us much about their values and beliefs. As we wander through their stories, we find ourselves drawn into a world where beauty meets pain, and where the connection to nature transcends mere existence. In Greek mythology, nymphs were often depicted as the very essence of nature. They embodied the spirit of rivers, springs, mountains, and trees, bringing life and beauty to the world around them. The Naiads, for example, were the water nymphs who danced in rivers and streams, their laughter ringing like silver bells. They were nurturing and protective, often aiding those who sought their help, but their moods could shift like the currents of water. A traveler might find kindness or wrath depending on how they approached these spirits. Syrinx, a nymph of the woods, is a poignant reminder of the vulnerabilities that came with their ethereal beauty. She caught the eye of Pan, the god of the wild, whose love was fierce but unrequited. Fleeing from his advances, Syrinx transformed into reeds, forever lingering in the shadows of the forest, giving birth to the Pan flute. This story of longing and transformation encapsulates the heartache nymphs often faced, caught between their desires and the whims of the gods. The Romans, inheriting these myths, celebrated nymphs with a touch of pragmatism. While they admired the beauty and grace of these beings, their portrayal often reflected the social norms and structures of Roman life. Nymphs in Roman culture were not just beautiful spirits of nature, they became symbols of fertility, health, and prosperity. Temples dedicated to nymphs flourished, becoming places of worship where people sought blessings for crops, marriages, and family. Echoing the Greek tales, the Roman interpretation of nymphs added layers of cultural significance. They were seen as protectors of health and well-being, and their presence was woven into the rituals that sustained community life. The rituals surrounding the nymphs became part of the everyday fabric of Roman existence, reinforcing the idea that harmony with nature was essential for a prosperous life. In both cultures, nymphs were closely tied to their environments. Greek mythology often emphasized the intimate relationship between nymphs and specific locations. The dryads, for instance, were tree nymphs, so bound to their trees that if the tree perished, so did they. This portrayal speaks to the Greeks' deep reverence for nature, highlighting their understanding of the interdependence between humanity and the natural world. It was a powerful reminder that harming nature could lead to consequences far beyond the physical. In contrast, Roman nymphs, while still connected to nature, were often depicted with a more utilitarian approach. They served specific purposes in society, embodying ideals that reflected Roman values. Festivals celebrating nymphs were lively, filled with joy and gratitude, reinforcing the connection between the divine and the everyday life of the people. Nymphs became the bridges between the sacred and the mundane, symbolizing the importance of nurturing relationships with the natural world. Characterization of nymphs also varied between the two cultures. In Greek mythology, nymphs often displayed a range of emotions, from playful and nurturing to vengeful and capricious. This complexity made them relatable and human-like, allowing people to see their own experiences reflected in these mythical figures. The stories of their love affairs, heartbreaks, and friendships captured the essence of human emotions, making nymphs timeless symbols of love and loss. Roman nymphs, however, tended to be more idealized, representing specific virtues rather than complex characters. They were often portrayed as embodiments of beauty, grace, and fertility, adhering to the societal expectations of femininity. This depiction offered a different perspective on womanhood, emphasizing the nurturing aspects while often sidelining the darker, more complex emotions. While they could be protectors and bringers of abundance, they were less often seen as individuals with their own desires and struggles. Yet, even in this idealization, there was an underlying acknowledgement of their power. Nymphs in Roman society were still celebrated for their role in fertility, health, and agriculture. The festivals held in their honor became vibrant expressions of gratitude, filled with music, dance, and offerings. The joy and celebration surrounding these nymphs brought communities together, reminding everyone of the blessings that nature bestowed upon them. The cultural significance of nymphs in both Greek and Roman mythology reveals a rich tapestry of human experience. The Greeks saw in them the embodiment of nature's wild beauty and unpredictability, while the Romans adapted these tales to fit their structured society, emphasizing the importance of nurturing and community. Both interpretations, despite their differences, highlight the profound connection between humanity and nature, a bond that resonates through time. As we reflect on these ancient tales, we recognize that nymphs were not just mythological beings, they were mirrors reflecting the hopes, dreams, and struggles of the people who told their stories. They remind us of the importance of cherishing our connection to the earth and the emotions that bind us together as humans. In every river, every tree, and every whisper of the wind, the legacy of nymphs endures, urging us to remember our place within the beautiful, intricate web of life. In the whispers of ancient tales, the concept of nymphs transcends borders and cultures, revealing a universal thread that binds human experiences. These enchanting beings, often associated with nature's beauty and bounty, appear in various forms across the globe, resonating with the hearts of those who hear their stories. As we traverse the landscapes of different mythologies, we find echoes of nymph-like figures, each reflecting the hopes, dreams, and fears of their people. In Hindu mythology, the Apsaras are celestial nymphs who embody beauty, grace, and the allure of the divine. They dance among the clouds, enchanting both gods and mortals with their mesmerizing performances. Like their Greek counterparts, Apsaras are not merely symbols of beauty, they possess a depth of emotion and a complexity that makes their stories relatable. Often caught in the tensions between duty and desire, they mirror the struggles of humanity, reminding us that even those blessed with beauty face challenges. The tale of Urvashi, an Apsara who fell in love with a mortal, showcases the delicate balance between longing and loss, illustrating how love can bridge the gap between realms yet remain ever elusive. Across the vast landscapes of Africa, we encounter the Mamiwata, water spirits revered in many cultures. Often depicted as stunningly beautiful women with the power to heal and protect, Mamiwata embodies the duality of water, nurturing yet unpredictable. Her presence in folklore highlights the significance of water as a life-giving force while also serving as a reminder of its potential for destruction. Stories of Mamiwata often revolve around love, seduction, and the sacrifices made in pursuit of happiness. These narratives, rich in emotion, reveal the profound connection between humanity and nature, reflecting the ways in which the natural world shapes cultural beliefs. In Japanese mythology, the yokai represent a diverse array of supernatural beings, including water spirits that echo the traits of nymphs. The beautiful and elusive yumabozu, for instance, is a spirit said to appear on calm seas, bringing storms and chaos. This duality, of beauty and danger, mirrors the complexities of nymphs, whose enchanting allure often masks deeper struggles. The stories of these spirits convey lessons about respect for nature and the acknowledgement of its unpredictable power. They remind us that beauty can be both a blessing and a burden, teaching us to tread carefully in a world where the line between the sacred and the perilous is often blurred. In Celtic folklore, the concept of the selkie embodies the essence of nymph-like figures. Selkies are seals that can shed their skins to become human, representing the duality of existence between the sea and land. These enchanting beings often find themselves torn between their two worlds, much like the nymphs of Greek and Roman mythology. The tale of a selkie who falls in love with a human illustrates the bittersweet nature of love that transcends boundaries yet is fraught with sacrifice. This story resonates deeply, reflecting the yearning for connection and the pain of separation that is felt across cultures. The universality of the nymph archetype is further exemplified by the Russian rusalka, a water spirit associated with lakes and rivers. Like the nymphs of Greek mythology, rusalki are often depicted as beautiful young women who may lure men to their watery graves. Their haunting songs speak of unfulfilled desires and lost love, drawing parallels to the themes of longing and loss that permeate nymph stories across cultures. The connection between rusalki and the natural world emphasizes the fragility of life and the deep emotional ties that bind humans to water, both as a source of sustenance and as a force of mystery. These diverse representations of nymph-like figures across cultures reveal a profound truth: the human experience is deeply intertwined with nature. Whether as protectors, seducers, or symbols of beauty, these beings remind us of our connection to the world around us. They embody the complexities of life, the joy, the sorrow, the longing, and the love that resonate within us all. The nymph archetype serves as a canvas upon which cultures paint their stories, reflecting their values, beliefs, and emotions. Each interpretation, while unique, shares common threads that unite humanity in its search for meaning and connection. The stories of Apsaras, Mamiwata, Yumabozu, Selkies, and Rusalki illuminate the eternal dance between humans and nature, reminding us that we are not merely observers but participants in this intricate tapestry of life. As we listen to these stories, we feel the echoes of laughter and tears, love and loss, woven into the very fabric of existence. The beauty of nymphs and their counterparts lies not just in their enchanting forms, but in the lessons they impart, the recognition of our vulnerabilities, the celebration of our joys, and the enduring power of love that transcends time and place. In every culture, these figures capture our imaginations, inviting us to reflect on our relationships with the natural world and each other. They urge us to cherish the beauty that surrounds us and to acknowledge the depths of emotion that bind us as human beings. As we celebrate the legacies of nymphs and their kindred spirits, we find solace in the understanding that, regardless of our differences, we share a common thread of longing, love, and the search for meaning in an ever-changing world. The allure of nymphs is timeless, echoing through the ages like a haunting melody that touches the soul. These ethereal beings, often linked to nature, beauty, and the mysteries of life, have captivated human imagination for centuries. In a world where everything seems to change at a rapid pace, the fascination with nymphs remains a powerful testament to our longing for connection to the natural world and to the deeper parts of ourselves. Nymphs symbolize a purity and enchantment that many find irresistible. They embody the essence of life, bringing with them a sense of wonder and beauty that resonates with our innermost desires. In today's chaotic world, where technology often distances us from nature, the nymph serves as a reminder of what we yearn for: the tranquility of a flowing river, the whisper of leaves in a gentle breeze, and the peace found in the embrace of the earth. Their enchanting presence stirs something deep within us, igniting our imaginations and reminding us of the beauty that surrounds us. The stories of nymphs often explore themes of love, loss, and longing, emotions that are universally relatable. These narratives resonate with our personal experiences, reflecting our desires and fears. In an age marked by fast-paced lives and fleeting connections, the timeless tales of nymphs remind us of the depth of emotion that can be found in the simplest moments. The idea of a nymph, forever entwined with the beauty of nature, evokes a sense of nostalgia for a time when life felt more connected to the earth and its rhythms. In modern media, nymphs have re-emerged, taking on new forms and adaptations that capture the hearts of contemporary audiences. From films and television shows to literature and art, nymph-like characters are often portrayed as powerful figures who navigate the complexities of love and identity. These portrayals reflect our ongoing fascination with the mythical and the magical, bridging the gap between ancient stories and modern sensibilities. The presence of nymphs in popular culture serves as a reminder that their essence still resonates with our collective psyche. Movies that depict nymphs or nymph-like beings often infuse them with a sense of agency and strength. In these tales, they are no longer just passive figures but active participants in their own stories. This evolution speaks to our changing views on femininity and power, allowing us to see nymphs not only as symbols of beauty but also as embodiments of resilience and courage. The stories of these modern nymphs evoke strong emotions, drawing us in and making us feel their struggles and triumphs as if they were our own. In literature, nymphs continue to be a source of inspiration for writers. They symbolize the wild, untamed aspects of nature, urging characters to confront their inner desires and fears. Through their journeys, we witness the complexities of love, the pain of loss, and the beauty of connection. The narratives surrounding nymphs encourage readers to reflect on their own relationships with the natural world and the emotions that come with it, creating a bridge between ancient mythology and contemporary life. Social media platforms have also played a significant role in the resurgence of interest in nymphs. Artists and creators use these platforms to share their interpretations of nymph-like characters, often blending traditional imagery with modern aesthetics. This fusion allows for a fresh exploration of nymph mythology, inviting a new generation to connect with these timeless figures. The captivating art and stories shared online remind us of the beauty of nature and the emotional depth that nymphs represent. The fascination with nymphs also speaks to our enduring connection to the environment. As climate change and environmental concerns become increasingly prominent, the symbolism of nymphs as guardians of nature resonates deeply. They remind us of the importance of preserving our natural world, encouraging a sense of stewardship and responsibility. In a time when many feel disconnected from the earth, nymphs serve as a bridge, guiding us back to our roots and reminding us of the magic found in nature's embrace. Furthermore, the themes associated with nymphs, such as transformation, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness, reflect our personal journeys. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the stories of nymphs inspire us to embrace our desires and pursue our dreams, encouraging us to break free from the constraints that hold us back. The narratives serve as a reminder that even in the midst of chaos, there is beauty and hope to be found. The enduring fascination with nymphs is a testament to their ability to speak to the human experience across time and culture. They capture the complexities of love, loss, and longing while also serving as symbols of beauty and resilience. In a world that often feels overwhelming, nymphs remind us of the enchantment that exists within and around us. As we continue to create and share stories about nymphs, we honor the legacy of these captivating figures. They remind us to cherish the beauty of nature, to explore the depths of our emotions, and to celebrate the connections that bind us all. In the end, the fascination with nymphs transcends mere mythology. It taps into the very essence of what it means to be human, urging us to embrace the wonder that exists in every moment of our lives. The air shimmers with enchantment as whispers of nymphs weave their way through contemporary literature and film, captivating hearts and minds with their timeless allure. In a world brimming with complex narratives and vibrant characters, nymphs emerge as symbols of beauty, mystery, and a deep connection to nature. Their presence in modern storytelling evokes emotions that resonate deeply, reminding us of the magic that once thrived in ancient myths. In the pages of contemporary novels, nymphs often find themselves reimagined as multifaceted beings, no longer confined to the gentle, passive roles of the past. Authors breathe new life into these figures, granting them agency and strength. Readers are drawn into their worlds, feeling their joys and sorrows, triumphs and struggles. This fresh portrayal speaks to the evolving perception of femininity, offering a reflection of the complexities of modern womanhood. The stories unfold like a delicate flower blooming, inviting readers to explore the depths of emotion and the richness of life. Film, too, has embraced nymphs with open arms. Directors weave stunning visuals and compelling narratives, crafting tales that resonate with audiences on an emotional level. In cinematic portrayals, nymphs become guardians of nature and fierce protectors of their domains. They embody resilience and bravery, inspiring viewers to confront their fears and embrace their true selves. The screen comes alive with vibrant colors, lush landscapes, and the soft glow of moonlight, transporting audiences to a world where magic is not just a fantasy but a feeling that lingers in the heart. The revival of interest in nymph mythology reflects a longing for connection in an increasingly disconnected world. As people navigate the complexities of daily life, the stories of nymphs remind us of the beauty that surrounds us, the gentle rustle of leaves, the sparkle of water under sunlight, and the sense of wonder that comes from simply being alive. Nymphs represent a world where nature thrives and where love and friendship are powerful forces that transcend the ordinary. In literature, the themes associated with nymphs often resonate with the struggles of modern life. They explore love, loss, and the search for identity in a world that can feel overwhelming. Readers find solace in these narratives, discovering reflections of their own experiences and emotions. The stories serve as a reminder that, like nymphs, we too can navigate the trials of life with grace and resilience. They encourage us to embrace our feelings, reminding us that vulnerability is a strength. Social media has played a significant role in this revival, allowing artists and creators to share their interpretations of nymphs with a global audience. Through vibrant illustrations and engaging narratives, they breathe new life into these ancient figures, blending tradition with modern aesthetics. The digital age has given birth to a renaissance of nymph-inspired art, inviting conversations that bridge the gap between myth and contemporary life. These creations stir emotions, evoking nostalgia for a time when magic felt palpable in the everyday. Nymphs have also made their mark on the fashion industry, influencing trends that celebrate the ethereal and the whimsical. Designers draw inspiration from the graceful movements and enchanting beauty of nymphs, creating collections that reflect a connection to nature. Flowing fabrics, soft colors, and intricate designs pay homage to the enchanting essence of these beings, allowing individuals to express their own inner magic. In this way, nymphs transcend their mythological roots, becoming symbols of freedom and self-expression in modern culture. Television series and films featuring nymphs tap into the universal themes of love and longing, creating narratives that resonate with audiences of all ages. These stories often weave together elements of fantasy and reality, blurring the lines between the two. Viewers are drawn into worlds where love can transcend boundaries, where friendships are forged in the face of adversity, and where hope shines even in the darkest moments. The emotional impact of these narratives lingers long after the credits roll, leaving audiences yearning for more. The fascination with nymphs in popular culture reflects a broader yearning for connection to nature and the emotional landscapes that define our lives. In a time when the digital world can feel isolating, nymphs remind us of the beauty and magic found in the natural world. Their stories encourage us to pause, reflect, and reconnect with the simple joys of life, a gentle breeze, a starry night, or the laughter of friends. This longing for connection is universal, echoing through generations and reminding us of the importance of nurturing our relationships with each other and with nature. As nymphs continue to weave their way into the fabric of modern storytelling, they invite us to embrace the wonders of life and the power of love. Their enchanting presence serves as a gentle reminder that magic is not confined to fairy tales, it exists all around us, waiting to be discovered in the quiet moments and shared experiences. With every story told, nymphs breathe new life into our collective imagination, inspiring us to seek out the beauty in our own lives. In this ever-evolving world, the enduring fascination with nymphs reflects our shared desire for connection, beauty, and the magic that lies within. Their stories touch our hearts, igniting a sense of wonder and encouraging us to embrace the mysteries of life. As we navigate our own journeys, the essence of nymphs serves as a guiding light, reminding us that the world is filled with enchantment, waiting to be unveiled in every moment we experience. In a world filled with noise and chaos, where the rustle of leaves and the whisper of the wind can easily be drowned out, nymphs emerge as powerful symbols of nature's grace and beauty. These enchanting beings, woven into the fabric of ancient mythology, have taken on new meaning in today's conversations about environmental conservation. Their stories remind us that nature is not just a backdrop for our lives, but a living, breathing entity deserving of love and protection. The very essence of nymphs speaks to the delicate balance of nature. They embody the spirit of forests, rivers, and meadows, reminding us that every flower and tree has a story to tell. In ancient myths, nymphs were the guardians of these landscapes, watching over them with a fierce love. This connection to the environment is a potent symbol in modern movements advocating for nature preservation. As we face the growing threat of climate change and habitat destruction, the stories of nymphs inspire us to take action, to honor the very earth that nurtures us. When we think of nymphs, we often imagine their ethereal beauty, dancing gracefully among the trees or gliding across the surface of a serene lake. This imagery stirs something deep within us, a longing for a simpler time, a time when humanity lived in harmony with nature. It is this longing that has fueled a resurgence of interest in the mythology surrounding these mystical beings, prompting us to reflect on our role in the natural world. Nymphs invite us to remember that we are part of a greater ecosystem, one that requires our respect and care. Modern environmental movements draw from the rich symbolism of nymphs, using their stories to foster a sense of connection and responsibility toward nature. Organizations and activists often invoke the spirit of these mythical creatures to inspire change. They highlight how nymphs serve as guardians of the earth, encouraging individuals to take on the same role in their communities. This approach emphasizes that caring for the environment is not merely an obligation but a privilege, a way to honor the beauty and wonder that surrounds us. Art and literature continue to celebrate nymphs, breathing new life into their tales while intertwining them with messages of environmental stewardship. Artists depict these enchanting figures in lush landscapes, showcasing their harmonious relationship with nature. These representations stir our emotions, reminding us of the fragility of our ecosystems and the urgent need to protect them. In a world where the consequences of neglecting our planet are becoming increasingly apparent, the stories of nymphs serve as poignant reminders of the beauty we stand to lose. Community initiatives inspired by nymph mythology often focus on local conservation efforts. Groups gather to restore natural habitats, plant trees, and clean rivers, embracing the spirit of nymphs as they work together to heal the earth. This grassroots approach fosters a sense of unity and purpose, reminding participants that they are part of something larger than themselves. Through these collective efforts, the essence of nymphs lives on, reminding us that every small action contributes to the greater good. Education plays a vital role in these modern movements, as the stories of nymphs are shared with younger generations. By teaching children about these mythological figures and their connection to nature, we instill a sense of wonder and responsibility in their hearts. The tales of nymphs resonate with children's imaginations, making them more likely to appreciate and care for the environment as they grow. This passing down of knowledge creates a lasting legacy, ensuring that the spirit of nymphs continues to inspire future generations to protect the natural world. Social media has also become a powerful tool in the fight for environmental conservation, with nymphs serving as symbols for various campaigns and movements. Through captivating visuals and engaging narratives, advocates share the message of nymphs as protectors of nature, sparking conversations about sustainability and the importance of preserving our planet. The reach of these campaigns amplifies the call to action, encouraging individuals to get involved and make a difference. The beauty of nymphs captured in these digital spaces ignites passion and urgency, motivating many to take steps toward a greener future. Moreover, nymphs symbolize the deep connection between humanity and the natural world. Their stories remind us that we are not separate from nature, rather, we are intertwined with it. Just as nymphs nurture the earth, we too have the power to influence our environment positively. This message resonates deeply, stirring feelings of hope and empowerment. It reinforces the idea that, no matter how daunting the challenges we face may seem, collective action can lead to meaningful change. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the stories of nymphs offer a gentle yet powerful reminder of the importance of nature preservation. They inspire us to look beyond ourselves and consider the impact of our actions on the world around us. Nymphs encourage us to find joy in the little things, the chirping of birds, the scent of fresh flowers, the warmth of the sun on our skin. It is in these moments that we can truly appreciate the beauty of the earth and the necessity of protecting it. The role of nymphs in environmental conservation is more than just a mythological connection, it is a call to action. Their stories resonate with our desire for connection, beauty, and a better future. By embracing the spirit of nymphs, we can channel our love for nature into meaningful efforts that protect and preserve the earth. Each small step we take in their honor, whether planting a tree, cleaning a river, or advocating for sustainable practices, contributes to a larger movement toward a healthier planet. In this way, nymphs serve as powerful symbols of hope and resilience, reminding us that we are not alone in our efforts to protect the environment. Together, we can honor their legacy, ensuring that the beauty of our natural world is cherished and preserved for generations to come. With every story shared, every action taken, and every heart inspired, the spirit of the nymphs lives on, guiding us toward a brighter, more sustainable future. In the quiet corners of libraries and the bustling halls of universities, the allure of nymphs continues to captivate scholars and students alike. These enchanting beings, woven into the rich tapestry of mythology, offer a treasure trove of insights into ancient cultures, beliefs, and human emotions. The academic study of nymphs goes beyond mere fascination. It opens a window into the hearts and minds of those who revered these spirits of nature, revealing their significance across time and space. Scholars have poured countless hours into exploring the role of nymphs in mythology, literature, and art. Their research brings to light the layers of meaning hidden within the tales of these captivating figures. From the gentle nymphs who cared for the rivers to the fierce protectors of the woods, each story carries a message that resonates with themes of love, loss, and the delicate balance of nature. These narratives transcend the boundaries of time, connecting us to the emotions of ancient peoples who found solace and inspiration in the presence of nymphs. In recent years, the academic landscape surrounding nymph studies has evolved, giving rise to new debates and directions in research. One of the prominent discussions revolves around the representation of femininity embodied by nymphs. These figures often embody idealized beauty and grace, raising questions about gender roles and societal expectations in ancient cultures. Scholars are examining how nymphs reflect the complexities of womanhood, exploring the tension between empowerment and objectification. This inquiry resonates with contemporary discussions about gender and identity, showcasing how ancient myths can inform modern conversations. Another area of interest focuses on the ecological symbolism of nymphs. As guardians of nature, these beings hold a special place in the conversation about environmental conservation. Researchers are investigating how nymphs symbolize humanity's connection to the earth and the urgent need to protect it. This exploration has sparked a dialogue about how ancient beliefs can inform our contemporary understanding of sustainability and ecological responsibility. In a world grappling with climate change and environmental degradation, the stories of nymphs remind us that the preservation of nature is not just a modern concern, it has deep roots in our shared history. The interdisciplinary nature of nymph studies further enriches this field. Scholars from mythology, literature, gender studies, and environmental science are collaborating to create a more nuanced understanding of these figures. This convergence of perspectives fosters a vibrant academic community where ideas can flow freely, leading to innovative research directions. The study of nymphs serves as a reminder that myths are not static, they evolve and adapt, reflecting the changing values and concerns of society. As researchers examine historical texts and archaeological findings, they uncover new layers of meaning related to nymphs. Ancient writings reveal how these figures were woven into the fabric of everyday life, influencing rituals, art, and societal norms. The exploration of these texts sheds light on the ways nymphs were invoked for guidance, protection, and inspiration. In many cultures, they were celebrated in festivals and offerings, highlighting their integral role in human experience. Each discovery adds to our understanding of the rich narratives surrounding these beings and their enduring impact on culture. Current debates also focus on the influence of Christianity on the perception of nymphs. As religious beliefs transformed societal views, nymphs faced both vilification and reinterpretation. Some scholars argue that the rise of Christianity marginalized these figures, casting them as mere symbols of paganism, while others suggest that they adapted, finding new forms and meanings within the Christian narrative. This tension between old and new beliefs creates a fascinating landscape for exploration, highlighting the resilience of nymph mythology in the face of change. In classrooms around the world, the study of nymphs serves as a gateway to discussing broader themes in literature and culture. Educators are recognizing the power of these stories to engage students with important topics such as gender, nature, and identity. Through the lens of nymphs, students can examine the complexities of human experience and reflect on their own relationships with the world around them. This academic exploration cultivates a sense of empathy and understanding, bridging the gap between ancient myths and contemporary realities. The emotional resonance of nymph stories continues to inspire creativity in academic works. Artists, poets, and playwrights draw from these myths, infusing their creations with the beauty and mystery of nymphs. The interplay between scholarship and artistic expression creates a rich dialogue that enriches both fields. As scholars uncover the depths of these myths, artists breathe new life into them, ensuring that the spirit of nymphs remains alive in the collective imagination. In this academic exploration, nymphs become more than just figures from ancient stories, they embody the hopes and fears of humanity. They remind us of our connection to nature, our struggles with identity, and our quest for understanding. The study of nymphs is an invitation to reflect on our place in the world and the stories that shape our lives. As we navigate the complexities of modern existence, the academic study of nymphs stands as a testament to the enduring power of mythology. These enchanting beings have captured the hearts of scholars, writers, and artists, igniting a passion for exploration and understanding. Through their stories, we are reminded that the past is not merely a collection of dates and events, it is a vibrant tapestry woven from the emotions and experiences of those who came before us. In a time when the world often feels disconnected, the academic study of nymphs invites us to reconnect with our roots, our values, and our shared humanity. It encourages us to listen to the whispers of nature and the echoes of ancient voices, reminding us that we are part of a larger narrative that transcends time and place. The study of nymphs is a journey into the heart of what it means to be human, and it leaves an indelible mark on our souls, inspiring us to cherish the beauty and complexity of our world. Throughout the ages, the enchanting figures of nymphs have captivated our hearts and minds. These delicate spirits of nature, often depicted as beautiful maidens dancing in the woods or splashing in crystal-clear streams, symbolize so much more than mere beauty. They embody the delicate balance of life, reminding us of the interconnectedness of all living things and the fragile nature of our existence. As we reflect on their significance, we find that nymphs are not just mythological beings, they are powerful symbols of love, loss, hope, and the eternal dance between humanity and nature. The stories surrounding nymphs are steeped in emotion, echoing the experiences and struggles of the human condition. Each tale whispers of the joys and sorrows of life, drawing us into a world where love can blossom in the most unexpected places. Nymphs have long been the muses of poets and artists, inspiring them to capture the beauty of fleeting moments and the profound emotions that lie beneath the surface of everyday life. In their laughter, we hear the echoes of joy, in their tears, the pangs of heartache. They serve as reminders that love is as transformative as it is painful, a bittersweet journey that shapes our souls. As guardians of nature, nymphs also hold a mirror to our relationship with the environment. Their connection to rivers, forests, and mountains speaks to the vital bond we share with the earth. In a world where nature is often taken for granted, nymphs remind us of the importance of preserving the beauty that surrounds us. They urge us to cherish the delicate ecosystems that sustain life, to listen to the whispers of the wind, and to feel the pulse of the earth beneath our feet. In doing so, they inspire a sense of responsibility and stewardship, encouraging us to protect our planet for future generations. The legacy of nymphs stretches far beyond ancient texts and folklore. Their presence can be felt in modern culture, where they continue to inspire literature, film, and art. Nymphs embody a timeless allure, reminding us of the beauty that exists in the world and the magic that lies just beyond our reach. As new generations discover these captivating figures, they breathe new life into old tales, ensuring that the spirit of nymphs endures. In the academic realm, the study of nymphs has opened doors to important conversations about gender, ecology, and the evolution of myth. Scholars are unearthing layers of meaning, revealing how these figures have been shaped by cultural shifts and societal changes. The ongoing exploration of nymph mythology encourages us to reflect on our own beliefs, values, and the stories we tell ourselves about the world. Each new perspective adds depth to our understanding, creating a rich tapestry of knowledge that connects the past to the present. Yet, it is in the quiet moments of reflection that we truly grasp the heart of what nymphs represent. They are not merely characters in stories, they are symbols of the emotions that bind us together as human beings. In a world that can often feel chaotic and uncertain, nymphs remind us of the beauty found in simplicity. A gentle breeze rustling through the leaves, the laughter of children playing in a meadow, the warm glow of a sunset, these moments hold the essence of life, a reminder to pause and appreciate the magic that exists all around us. As we continue to navigate the complexities of modern life, the lessons imparted by nymphs resonate more than ever. They teach us to embrace the beauty of impermanence, to cherish our connections with others, and to cultivate a sense of wonder in our daily lives. In their ethereal presence, we find solace and inspiration, a reminder that we are part of a larger story that transcends time and space. The legacy of nymphs is a testament to the power of myth and the enduring human spirit. They invite us to dream, to love deeply, and to protect the world that sustains us. Through their stories, we are reminded that we are never truly alone. The echoes of ancient wisdom continue to guide us as we forge our paths. In closing, the tales of nymphs weave a rich narrative that speaks to the heart of what it means to be human. They touch upon the complexities of love, the importance of connection, and the need to honor the natural world. These enchanting beings remind us to look beyond the surface, to seek the deeper meanings in our lives, and to find joy in the fleeting moments that shape our existence. The world may change, but the essence of nymphs, their grace, beauty, and enduring spirit, will forever remain a part of us, inspiring generations to come.